though. He's off, he's gone. On the inside, it's so he got his cheek went on the inside. Losing it though, lost it. And what a fantastic win for them.
Good evening, SynergyPWR viewers across the world. Welcome to SynergyPWR People's World Racing, and we're here for round number 10 here at the British Grand Prix. It's Silverstone, it's Synergy's home Grand Prix, and many of these drivers' home Grand Prix. And it's indeed going to be an absolutely fascinating one, as we're seeing the two Haas's battling it out by the looks of things during this little practice session. And Jenny Gooch actually crashing out just there. Joining me in the commentary box, though, is none other than homeboy himself, ZG Swift from Division 1 Team Mercedes. Good evening.
Good evening. How are you doing, Justin, my friend?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. Glad to have you here on board. But very last minute duty as well here, so thank you very much for coming up here on the commentary box.
It's okay.
Going to be an interesting one. A lot of the drivers currently on hard tyres at the moment as we're following Trigster. I'm going to get straight into it because we're actually running in practice mode at the moment, 25 minutes until we get into qualifying. I'm intrigued actually in sort of race strategy, as you know, and I'm intrigued from your perspective. You know, how would you run a British Grand Prix? Would you run the harder tyre, or as you see the blue wall tyres as Trigster's running here, or would you go for a different compound?
I would go for a different compound entirely, just down to the hard tyre. Actually doesn't really offer too much around Silverstone.
Yeah, it's going to be a fascinating one for sure, as Benny's just connecting into the session. Definitely going to be an intriguing one for sure. On board with Trigster at the moment as he goes onto the hard tyres. As he comes into third, actually overtaking Mini Carrot. I think it's definitely going to be an interesting race to keep a firm eye on that one as regards to strategy, especially between the two Toro Rossos and the two Saubers currently battling it at the moment in the championship. Not too sure if you're an avid viewer of the Division 2 races here at SynergyPWR, but I'm just intrigued. Have you got any ideas of, you know, what advice would you give to the Division 2 drivers as a Division 1 driver yourself?
Well, entirely being respectful to the Division 2 drivers. They are very quick in themselves. Like, some of them are definitely pushing towards Division 1 standard. And yeah, essentially it's just getting down to like fluidity between the controller sticks and making it more like flow through the car flow through the corner, because as you see, like, most of the drivers do use pads, and that tends to dissuade their like ability to flow through the corners.
I absolutely agree, actually. I think one thing that's been of major concern, actually, for Synergy drivers, especially in Division 2, I think one observation I made was the very way that they steer. I know a lot of the drivers in Division 1, and this is where I think the big difference is between the two tiers, is that steering is quite different. I think a lot of the drivers in this division tend to go like right centre, left centre.
Yes,
There's never like a fluid turn, and it burns through your tyres. Especially here we have simulation tyres, so we go through carcass temperatures as well, and I think it really burns through your tyres. So the chances of people going onto a one-stop strategy here is quite significant in a way. So it's going to be an intriguing one to watch for sure. I think one thing to keep an eye out on, though, obviously, is the two Toro Rosso drivers as well, of Adrian and Sviakoki. Adrian currently down at the bottom of the leaderboard of the drivers who are running at the moment. The Toro Rosso runner, as we hope to go on board with him in a second, actually. He has, and there we are, like magic. He is expressing, obviously, major concern at the moment. His performances have not really been up there in Division 2 at the moment, but he is on his way back to try and get some points and claw back points for Toro Rosso Honda. Like I said, I'm not too sure if you've been keeping a firm eye in Division 2 yourself, Swift, but do you have any thoughts potentially about, who your favourite is maybe out of the two teams? Do you feel like Sauber's got the edge here, or do you think Toro Rosso's got the edge for the season?
Oh, well, I do like what Sauber have brought to the table, with Trigster and Mini Carrot, but my favourite for me has to be Adrian sitting in that Toro Rosso right there.
Yeah, I get you 100%, and I think I think Toro Rosso Honda in itself, I think they've got a great team here. in Synergy in Division 2, and I think they can really battle out for the championship. But I think we just need to hopefully see the number 4 driver there absolutely barreling his way through. The thing is, it got just a little bit wide there, so he might have just invalidated his lap doing that, as yellow flags are waved in sectors 1 and 2. I think a couple of other drivers to keep a firm eye out on as well. I think nice to see Echo's back. He's reserve driver for SynergyPWR here in Division 2. He returns to Synergy after a short break. And also as well, WWR Ted 53, otherwise known as Flamer. He's also returning here as a reserve driver at SynergyPWR. He's currently in the pits at the moment, but his internet connection has been showing a bit of instability. So fingers crossed, obviously, it won't be too many of an issue, because if the internet connection issues don't resolve themselves by the end of practice, it's highly likely there will be black flags for the session. So that would be really disappointing, considering we have now 16 runners here in Division 2.
Well, I'd like to see, personally, Severe Cookie get up quite to the top of qualifying rankings in this race. I reckon he'd definitely add that certain edge towards the Toro Rossos, pulling out a good finish at the end of the race.
We are 20 minutes left in this practice session here at Silverstone, the British Grand Prix. Glad to be here at our home Grand Prix at SynergyPWR, and for the many of these drivers, of course, their home Grand Prix. You reckon because of that, the majority of the Division 2 drivers who are British here are going to be piling a lot of pressure to be getting as many points as they can at the home Grand Prix? Do you feel that's going to... You reckon the British Grand Prix essentially is going to change the way they drive, is what I'm asking?
Yes, you want to do well at your home Grand Prix. Personally, for myself, we've got Division 1 tomorrow, so, and that's also it's Britain, so I want to do well in that, because simply it's just the home track of where I live. So yeah, you obviously want to do well in your home track, and I hope this feeling transposes to the other drivers that are also competing on this track tonight. It's a very good feeling, you know, going around Britain.
Yeah, I think Britain is... I think that we obviously use this as one of our testing tracks here at SynergyPWR, the one of 3 tracks if the many drivers here at SynergyPWR utilise. As we see Adrian now on an in-lap, by the looks of things, is letting the Red Bull through. I think that's a Red Bull of Mike David, actually, in P11, who is going past there now. He's looking like he wants to get onto a bit of a run here, because I think of all people now who we thought would be up there, it would be this fella right here as we go on board with the Red Bull driver. I think he needs a good race, because I think he's been very unlucky to not sneak into those top steps, and he's been crashing out quite regularly, actually. And obviously he's defending world champion of Division 2 as well, so I think if he was to have a good race here, potentially win it here today at Silverstone, do you reckon he has a real shot at sort of kick-starting his season off with a bang and have possibly the chance to defend his title, or do you think the damage is done?
I wouldn't say the damage is done. I mean, we're only halfway through the season. There's still a lot of races to go. Maybe the top guys at the championship might, I don't know, have a bad race this race. We don't wish it on them, but essentially, I want to see Mike David personally do well. He seemed to do well last season, and I want to see him bring back some results. He's definitely a great driver to do it as well.
Another driver I'd like to see get some great results as well is McLaren. They've not had a fantastic season at all, really, in real life, and not had a very good season in quite a while. But McLaren on the way back with Heatproof Ham and Paradise Bear at the moment. Now, these two are very fascinating drivers to look at, because them two do really collaborate as a team. It's a very big team effort at McLaren. They know one driver's going to be significantly slower. They'll play team orders. They'll let him through. And fair play to Paradise Bears. He gets into P8 as he crosses the line, above Mini Carrot and Becky Boo in the Ferrari. So intriguing stuff happening here. And another person I'd like to talk about as well, actually, P12 at the moment, is the Red Bull of Being Emotional. None other than Gary. You may recognise him if you're a long-time viewer here at SynergyPWR. Being Emotional was one of the very first drivers here at SynergyPWR, but actually taking a break here at SynergyPWR, going on to doing his personal matters and continuing racing with other leagues. But he's back with us now at SynergyPWR, and we can't wait to see him back racing with us. ZG Swift, you'll actually remember being emotional, because I'm pretty sure you were here from the start, weren't you? So you'll recognise being emotional.
Yes, I was here from Australia, straight at the beginning.
So you'll know what being emotional is like as a driver. Would you like to just give us like a lowdown? What is he like to race against being emotional?
I mean, yeah, he's definitely a character. He brings a lot to the table, and essentially, I do believe he'll bring a lot to this league, division. Sorry. He has his moments, I guess. He can be a very, very good driver when he wants to be, but like any of us, when conflicts seem to happen on the track, it seems to revolve around him a lot, unfortunately.
I think a lot of the incidents back in the invitational season with being emotional.
Yeah.
There was quite a few incidents that were unfortunately evolved around him. I think he was just unfortunate to be in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yes.
For Gary.
100% I agree.
And so it's good to see that he's come back with us now. Obviously, we've evolved as a league since these little things. We've actually released our November rulebook, actually talking of evolution, as we see Becky Boo coming round the first sector here. 6 brand new rules, as voted by the drivers. I take a big sort of following. We'll definitely take a look at them now, because we've actually got the sheet up here. The November write-up incorporates new rules where I'm not sure if the viewers here at SynergyPWR are aware. Issues involving car modelling has been brought up here at SynergyPWR, where either the front nose or the rear wing seems to be like extended further in the modelling, and when they structure it at Codemasters, so much so that you can actually hit that and cause a spin without actually touching your opponent's car. So we've incorporated a rule. We've made it very known that Synergy knows of this rule, Synergy knows of this glitch, and if you get involved in an accident involving that, you weren't paying attention and weren't understanding of that rule, and you will be penalised as according, which on initial inspection may not seem fair, but personally I think it is, because I think it really does allow the drivers to understand, right, we can't come here but we can try something else. So I think it'll allow potentially for better racing.
Yeah, definitely introduction to the moving forward for Synergy. I especially like this
P9.
rule.
Vicky Boo crosses P9, 1 minute 30.4 for her. Other rules to incorporate though as well, I think, to consider, Swift, that I think are of great interest to a lot of people, include reprimands for internet connectivity issues. So if drivers on the track are showing severe internet connection issues that make sure racing becomes next to impossible, we can actually give reprimands to the drivers, so much so 3 reprimands will lead to league suspension, so until they can provide otherwise that their internet has been fixed. Other things include as well manipulating steward inquiries, other little things including retiring on the track. Retiring on the track is now an official rule. You can't do it. It was like one of those unwritten rules, like you go onto the track and you you go onto a road, and if you're going down a hill and the person coming up the hill has right of way, it's an unwritten rule. It's not law, but it's an unwritten rule. That's what officially was this rule was the equivalent of, but since we've seen more people retiring on track every so often, we now have to incorporate it as a penalty point rule. And as well, lobby hosts, they can't disconnect from the session either, even if they crash out, and if they do, it could cause lobby issues. They'll get 2 penalty points on their super license. So it's nice to see, I think, the evolution of Synergy rulings, and and it's great to see so many drivers come in. In fact, we had 44 votes in total. 44 votes in total for all of those. So I think it shows the how much these drivers are really interested in Synergy and making sure that the running of Synergy goes really well, as Trigster is running really well himself. 1 minute 28.7 for the driver in white and red. Fantastic stuff from Team Sauber. Good evening to Tom123 for the win. Team Williams in Division 1, who's watching the SynergyPWR broadcast here at Britain tonight. Toro Rosso 1-2, he thinks. Jenny Goosh thinks it's a Haas 1-2. I mean, I think he was involved in a bit of an incident earlier with his teammate, so hopefully that won't be of too much concern. Danny Bertini, that's none other than Silver Surfer. Nice to have you here with us here tonight, sir. Haas 116 Kiwi to win, says Silver Surfer. Agent the 8th for the win, he also says. So nice to have you on board. Feel free to leave your comments here in the SynergyPWR chat. Just leave it on to the right if you are on your computer, and below if you're on the app. And leave it with hashtag AskJames if you've got any questions at all. I'll be sure to answer them. Happy to have you here for this practice session here. 11 minutes to go here at Silverstone as we're watching Trickster come in what seems to be like on his in-lap at the moment. Jenny Gooch flat out into turn 1, guys. I mean, you've got plenty of time to say it, Jenny, at the moment, don't you, laddo? Currently crashed out of the race, of this practice session, rather. Benny269, also worth making note, disqualified from this session as he rejoins for driving the wrong way. So a bit of a
driving the wrong way.
Yeah, a bit of a peculiar incident for Benny269, but he is disqualified from this practice session, but he will be back for qualifying. Great to see as well. We've actually got 17 runners here today as well. The only people missing are actually due to commitments outside of the league that are of great importance. Obviously, we hope that everyone else in Division 2 that are currently away are doing very well. Dan Blowers, Adrian will pick up the win tonight. He has sneaking suspicion Adrian's on it to win tonight. You were mentioning actually that you've got confidence in Adrian tonight as well, haven't you, Swift?
Yes, entirely. He seems to bring it to the table every time he steps up to the car, so fingers crossed he does well tonight.
Yeah, 100% agree though. I think the teams are doing extremely well at Toro Rosso, and actually at the moment Adrian Yates is actually going P4 at the moment. Wouldn't mind seeing the tyres actually, if we could see what tyres these laps were done on. Be under the spectator menu, fingers crossed we'll be able to see them. It's going to be interesting. Obviously these are the fitted tyres, so what we see are the drivers, what currently the tyres are on. Mongdog did his 1 minute 30.1 on hard tyres, so he's actually the fastest on hard tyres at the moment, is Mongdog in Team Williams. So cracking lap time for him as he's looking to kickstart his season in Division 2. Mike David currently down the order on softs, 1 minute 31.2, so he's not doing very well on his choice of tyres. Perhaps he was just sandbagging just a little bit. Heatproof Ham down the order as well. He was on hard tyres, now onto medium tyres with a 32.2. So it's going to be an interesting viewing, I think, for sure. But at the moment, the best laps are set on what I think were soft tyres. We're currently seeing the tyres, people on mediums. Hoonigan did his 28.8 on medium tyres as well. So even though Trickster was fast, but he's a 10th faster, I think his tyres were done on, his lap time was done on softs. So Hoonigan is looking like a bit of a favourite here at the moment, as is Morgan. And I think Adrian, 29.2 on softs, is there in the outsider category, so we'll have to keep a firm eye on that one. Let us know if you have any comments, of course, like I said, with the hashtag AskJames, and I'll be sure to answer them during the practice and qualifying session. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting thought. Nice to see Gary back in P10 here. Currently P10, like I said, 1 minute 30.2 on hard tyres, and he's currently still out at the moment, is he? Currently in P10 is being emotional. He's now, I think, just doing a little bit of a run around. Is this what you would usually do, Swift? Would you usually get like a pair of hard, say a set rather, of hard tyres on and just do a big high fuel run, or would you prefer to test strategy and test, you know, the car's balance and so on? I mean, how do you approach a practice session?
Well, essentially I put on the harder tyre first, put my setup, like first setup on, test out what the setup's like with my quali setup. If it's sliding around too much or I'm getting a bit more understeer, I tend to try and see how bad it is compared to like the mediums, so I'll jump onto the mediums, and if it's bad, then I'll change it then, but then go back to the hards and try and do a high fuel run.
I mean, you've only got...
after that, it's the softs.
I mean, you've only got 30 minutes to be able to do this practice session. Obviously, back in the invitational season last season, we had a total of 45 minutes available to do the practice session. Only 30 this year.
Yes.
So, do you see benefit from only being a 30-minute practice session, or do you think 45 was the way to go back in the old season?
I mean, 45 was good, but then again, it tended to have a little bit of a time constraint on people that had to, I don't know, we've got quite a young age range between our drivers, so some people had to get off earlier than others, so if the race unfortunately extended out before people understood, then
Sphere Cookie sliding
They
in
had a
there
bit
with a
of an
1
quarrel
minute
with it.
28.6 at the moment as we're following Trickster as he now goes on to his fast lap. Hopefully we'll go on board with him shortly to see how his lap goes on. The Team Sauber runner looking to try and outpace the Toro Rosso to keep that battle between the two going. Yeah, I 100% get where you're coming from though as regards of that, because I look back on it now and I think that these runners have got great ability to be able to get around here, and these practice sessions are, I think, really important. And I think, like I said, we have actually got, like I said, Mini Carrot, who's currently in the pits at the moment. He was expressing some real pace, so much so that in Spain he actually won the race, and he's only 11. So we do have young drivers in here. I mean, we have now incorporated a rule which limits that, but we do have young drivers in here who do need to be a lot, get off a lot earlier. They have school, they have bedtimes, and so on. And the runners are looking, fantastic to be able to, we take that time back, we put less practice session on, and it gives these drivers an opportunity to go out there and run well. And quite honestly, I think it really does allow us to be a lot more diverse. As we see Trickster now with DRS wide open as Mini Carrot retires from the session, so he's had enough of this particular session. Trickster now coming up onto Sector 3. Hard brakes as he comes through the final selection of corners. It's going to be interesting to see where he places himself at the moment. He is on fresh medium, so he could have the opportunity to take over Sphere Cookie for that P1 spot as he just drops one extra gear more than he needed to, but he floors it down to the line. Will he be able to top off? He does. Nice little lap time there. 1 minute 28.308 for Trickster. I mean, they're 0.3 of a second faster on the same compound of tyre. I mean, Trickster's looking competitive tonight, isn't he?
Yes. Looking very, very quick.
Yellow flags waved.
Be interesting actually to see.
Sorry, go on.
Be interesting to see the difference in time between first and 10th. I know in Division 1 it's very, very close. So to see firsthand how close it is between the top 10 people.
Yeah, Division 1 actually is quite an interesting one. If you're interested in Division 1, by the way, tune in tomorrow. Eddie and Adrian in the commentary box in our seats tomorrow for that race. But tonight, yeah, I agree with you 100%. I mean, if you take a look at it from this point of view, there's less than 1 second separating P1 from P8. And then you have Paradise Bear who set his 1:29.8 on hard tyres. So if you were to knock off, well, you're talking about 1.2 seconds, aren't you, with the hard tyre to the softs? If you take those off, you're considering Paradise Bear could really be up there as well. And obviously you've got Being Emotional and Mong Dog now, who are now on outlaps on fresh medium tyres themselves, so they could be going on to a bit of a run now to really get a good lap in. So it could be almighty close in this practice session, so much so I think we could possibly see the top 10 separated by less than 1 second. So it's going to be an interesting viewing, that's for sure. Good evening to the 11 viewers who are tuned in here tonight for this practice session. 3.5 minutes to go here as we lead on, and many other drivers, people joining out of nowhere. I don't know why they're joining, but fingers crossed they're not going to be able to interfere in this session. Following the Red Bull have been emotional though as he comes on to finishing his outlap, and he's going to be starting on those medium tyres, and he's looking fresh and ready to go. Is that Red Bull runner? Will he be able to restart his career here at SynergyPWR with a bang? We will see as we follow him now on his lap. Turn 1, Turn 2, we do these relatively flat. Any approaches to Sector 1 and Sector 2, do you feel, Swift, or do you just go in there with all guns blazing when you're on a hot one?
Tend to be all guns blazing. The only time I really ease up is in the race, trying to get the car more balanced, but in qualifying you're just out there to try and get the fastest time possible, so yeah, just to go all guns blazing pretty much.
Now I can't answer this question, but Rose Millhouse has decided to pop into this chat. Good evening to you, how you doing? I am not a wheel user, so I can't answer this question, but I know someone who can. Swift, you're a wheel user here at SynergyPWR, so the question that was asked by Rose Millhouse was quite simple. Which do you prefer, the wheel or do you prefer the controller?
Oh, wheel, 110%.
Why do you prefer wheel? Curious. I'm completely curious because I'm on about getting a wheel for myself, but obviously I'm a league racer myself on weekends, and I don't have a wheel. I drive via pad, so I'm intrigued. Why is the wheel a better choice?
it just feels, the car feels a lot smoother to drive, and like you feel how much grip you're actually losing in the tires. Like you tend to slip around a lot more. The car is quite snappy to how you're driving. So if, for example, like when I'm on a qualifying run, when I go all guns out blazing, the car's quite snappy and I chuck it in the car, I chuck it into corners. But whereas like on a race, you tend to ease up a bit more, and then that's when you start to feel like more of the understeer, oversteer. Whereas in a controller, you're not really receiving that feedback, and that's what I love about the wheel so much. The force feedback, you feel the car go through the corners, and it just adds a little bit of a sensation to how you're driving the car, and just a little bit more of an achievement, I guess.
And you know exactly where your car feels, and I think for me, I've been tempted to do that myself actually. Number 76 Red Bull, at the moment I believe also on a wheel himself. He's gone P9 on fresh medium, so he is now within, actually just without 1 second, 28.3 currently the fastest lap, 29.3 being within 1 second. He's now out just on the cusp of that boundary with the 29.7, so he goes faster than Becky Boo, and he's actually faster than his teammate Mike David at the moment. And bear in mind, Being Emotional actually here as a reserve driver, so the reserve driver actually faster than the regular runner at the moment. Mike David seems to be struggling at the moment down in P15.
Yes, that is correct. Gary definitely brings a lot to the table. Seeing as being out for so long, and he comes straight back in. I mean, it's quick times, so it definitely shows what skill he has as a driver.
Absolutely.
I'm guessing Mike David definitely wants to put score.
Absolutely, I've got a lot of respect for Gary actually, because like I said, he was one of the fundamental factors for Synergy actually starting up. He helped contribute a lot to the rule book and understanding exactly how we want to run as the practice session now finishes. And we're following Mike David as he's on a fast run at the moment on 1 lap old medium, so he's hoping to get a good lap in here. At this rate, he's not looking particularly fast in sector 2. We'll see where he comes across when he finishes Maggots and Beckett's. It'd be a real shame if Mike David would start struggling here, because I think he could do so much more here at Synergy, as he's 2/10 up on his fastest lap, but he's still not looking like he's going to be able to breach into the 130s here at this rate.
He might be running a little bit higher than expected.
Yeah, he could be.
Let's hope.
Could be higher downforce as we go on board with Mike David at the moment as he comes across the finishing line. Hopefully we'll be able to see him as he comes across on board, and he crosses the line and actually improves it into the 30s. 1 minute 30.7 as Trickster nabs P1, 1 minute 27.8. So he's absolutely obliterated the fast time by almost an entire second on Sphere Cookie on those soft tyres. So Sphere Cookie actually sent a lap, so hopefully we'll go to P2 to see how Sphere Cookie is doing on his fast lap as he comes to a final selection of corners. Will he be able to nab Trickster's P1 in this practice session? We will see, as he keeps a firm eye on. A little bit of a bad exit though out of those penultimate corner, but he crosses and goes pole out of the end of the practice session. So credit where credit's due, Sphere Cookie managing to nab well into the 27.6s, and we'll see the final selection as we take a look at this. And then we'll take a quick look at the standings here, and you can see with the music playing, Sphere Cookie going top of the standings with a 27.857, beating Trickster by only just less than 0.03 of a second. Close battle in between them two, between Toro Rosso and Sauber. Hoonigan doing a cracking job in P3 with Ferrari, 28.8 for him, and Pierre XM Echoes, the reserve for Mercedes, 29.09, putting him in P4. Well done to him. Mongdog fitting P5, a great result for him, needing to kickstart his career at SynergyPWR. Morgan 4S in P6. WWR Ted will be also looking to get back into the session as soon as he can in P7. Adrian the 8th looking to improve on his lap times with P8, Heatproof Han P9, and Being Emotional in P10, and the rest of the field doing as they are in the rest of the field. And we are coming up to qualifying. Good evening, Synergy PWR viewers across the world, and welcome to Synergy PWR People's World Racing round number 10 here at Britain and Silverstone Circuit. And as you can see right here, we are racing here for qualifying with 18 minutes on the clock. The time starts, and we have 16 runners racing with us today here at Synergy PWR. And joining me in the commentary box is none other than ZG Swift for Team Mercedes in Division 1. Good evening.
Hello guys, hello.
Nice to have you on board with us here. Some great insight from Division 1. They're racing tomorrow here at Silverstone, so it'd be nice to see and nice to get a little bit of knowledge from the Division 1 runners and what he can do to contribute to these Division 2 runners. As we see here, the drivers now exiting. Only one person will be knocked out of qualifying, but the question is who will that be? We will see as we follow Dr. Gray, none other than Dr. Gray, leaving to come out into the Force India, and away he goes. You may know Dr. Gray actually, I don't know if it is a doctor, I'm not too sure. The stream quality I have unfortunately is not very good. It's not bad on your screens, but on mine it isn't the best. But he was known originally as Mist Gray, so he recently changed his gamer tag. He's also a reserve driver looking to get himself properly set up here at SynergyPWR People's World Racing. Hopefully we'll get to see the lap data appear on our screen shortly. Just needs to pop onto the spectator menu and get that sorted out, as there we go. Obviously, the runners are going to be running on the softest compound of tyre available, the soft tyres, here in Q1, unless they want to burn through hard tyres. I mean, the question for you this actually, Swift, do you go balanced tyres and then just stick with the softest compound in Q1, Q3, and then decide what you want to do in Q2? Or, I mean, what's your strategy for Britain?
Test out one of the softer tyres on Q1, see how that goes, and then tend to more go towards the harder tyre in Q2, and then obviously the softest tyre in Q3.
Good evening to all our 16 viewers here at SynergyPWR People's World Racing. Thank you very much for tuning in here on this Tuesday evening. It's not a very nice one over here in the UK at the moment. Weather is appalling, but weather's not appalling here. It's actually beautiful, and it's scheduled to be dry all the way through the session as well. So looking like very good stuff here for Division 2. When it's, well, let's be honest, here in Britain the chance of rain is highly likely, so looks like they're going to strike it lucky here today.
Yeah, weather's looking nice.
Dr. Gray is going to be one of the first few people to start their outlap as we're on board with him in the Force India. We'll see how he does, none other than Gray. Coming through turn 1, turn 2, looking like a little bit of understeer actually, a bit of oversteer as he comes through turn 1, so setup not ideal, but this is what that practice session's all about, and unfortunately for him he came too late to be able to get himself out there on a hot lap. That's Gray now coming through the section of corners with DRS wide open for him, and you can clearly see that ERS being burnt through here. So on soft tyres is the Force India. It's going to be interesting to see where he places himself, so we'll keep a firm eye out on that one. A person I'd like to go on board with, though, actually, considering he's on that lap at the moment, is Morgan 4S P3. Now, he's currently possessing some really good lap times at the moment. He's actually just hiding behind the Haas driver by the looks of things, of Jenny Goosh, also on a hot lap. The Williams was showing some real pace on the hard tyres and the medium tyres, so he could be up there potentially scrapping for pole. Do you have any early favourites for pole for yourself, Swifty, or do you feel like it's looking like it's anyone's game?
I mean, top 2 at this moment in time looks like Sphere Cookie's going to be pushing into that, and seeing what I saw in practice, I think Trickster might pip him.
Trickster might pip him. We'll have to see. But Trickster and Sphere Cookie were battling it out for P1 in practice. If you were tuned in earlier for practice, it was a very close one, separated by only 300ths of a second. Dr. Gray first to finish with a 29.8 on the soft tyres. Paradise Bay easily beating that with a 28.8. Question is, what will Morgan do? He's going to cross the line here and comes across the line, setting the pole position lap time of 1:27.6. That's the early lap time to beat. But we are going to see now the Saubers coming out as Trickster sets a lap on old soft, so he was invalidated. So Mini Carrot will be the first person to keep a firm eye out on, I think. So we'll keep a firm eye out on P7 as he comes across the line now. To set, and that's the old straight, not the new one. I'm going to have to start. I've been watching Old Britain races, and you know, obviously that being the old straight, and I'm getting myself confused here. I must admit I did love the old circuit. I'm not a big fan of this new one, but I preferred the old one.
It was a cracking circuit, you are correct there.
The old one, I love the you know, the left right turns before going underneath the bridge, which was like a little dip. It reminded me a lot of home actually, from my original hometown. There's a little road that goes down underneath the dip under a bridge, and every time my dad, when I was a young kid, used to we go under that bridge with the car, I used to think I was in a Formula 1 car. No joke, I am a really, really sad kid. As we see Mini Carrot now coming round the final selection of corners, he floors it to the line. Will he be able to beat? No, he only goes P5. It's 29.0 on the softs. Trickster yet to still a lap time after invalidating his first one. So being emotional will probably be the next runner to keep an eye out on, actually down in P14. He's on a hot lap on fresh tyres himself as he's coming through Maggots and Beckett's. Going to be interesting to see how his early stance is back here in SynergyPWR. Do you expect him to be through to Q2 quite easily?
Yes, yeah, I do think you'll do well. Hopefully towards hopefully looking good in practice, and hopefully look to see him high in Q2.
Trickster managing to beat Morgan 4S's lap time on slightly worn soft tyres. That's a cracking lap time from him. Being Emotional straight to P5, 28.4. Perhaps a little bit of a sandbagging Being Emotional back in qualifying, back in practice rather, because his qualifying times are suggesting he might be up there, you know. We'll go to the other Red Bull actually at the moment of Mike David in P12 at the moment as we go off board. I think he's actually on an out lap at the moment, so we'll love to keep with him. Again, we were discussing earlier about Mike David. Currently the Division 2 World Champion, defending World Champion. Not had a very good season start, has Mike David, so he'll be wanting to get his career up and running in this Season 1 run. And I think what another than a great opportunity to start it than at his home Grand Prix. Do you reckon he's going to approach this race with a completely different mindset and perhaps take whatever benefit he gets from that into the rest of his races, or do you think he should just go in there, race the car like he's done already, and go full pelt ahead, knowing that he could win it? I mean, what if you were in Mike David's position? Is what I'm asking. What would you do? Would you approach this race differently to try and have an opportunity to win your home Grand Prix and kickstart your season?
I mean, if there's any place to do it, it's here and it's now. If I was Mike David, racing at your home Grand Prix, you're obviously going to have a bit more motivation to do well. And seeing as how bad how much better the first half of the season could have gone, he'll definitely think that now's the time to put that all out the window and do well on this track.
We've actually got the table here at the moment for the previous race, where he was actually as low as 12th place in the championship at the moment, which I think is really unheard of from a defending world champion to be so far low down. Like I said, in Division 1 purposes, if you want to get promoted, you need to be in the top 3, and Mike David was really in a place to be promoted to Division 1 at the end of the last season. Right now, he's looking like he's going to be able to struggle even touching the top 10 as he crosses the line and gets P6 with a 28.2. So he's looking pacey and he's looking good enough possibly for a Q3 position, but he's not really touching the likes of his reserve teammate, or for that matter even sneaking into possibly a race-winning territory at the moment, is he?
No, he's not looking as quick as we like to see him, and a shame, unfortunately, but hopefully he gets better as the qualifying progresses.
Of course, and we see the Toro Rosso Honda coming round now of age in the 8th. Now he's looking to really boost his start. He had a cracking start of the season. It's sort of tapered off. Another opportunity for him, his home Grand Prix, to really bolster his opportunity here at SynergyPWR. And we're watching him now as he comes through the final selection of corners here at Britain. Penultimate corner coming up here, and he's going to be coming down into probably about third gear. There it is, there, third gear. In fact, I think that was an invalidated lap because he's going round again. So he's going to cross this line here with 1 lap old, no mark on his run, but it was a 31.0. So even with the slowing down, he's still faster than a lot of these runners. So he's looking like he's on par to be able to do quite well. Let's go to Hoonigan in the Ferrari now. He was showing some bit of a pace. He's P14. He was doing a cracking job in practice as well. Now he hasn't set a lap time yet, but you reckon he could be on to pole?
I'd like to think he'd be the top 5, but at this early stage of qualifying, I can't really tell so far.
Well, I'm looking at.
But I'd like to think he'd be top 5.
I'm looking at the moment at his ERS settings. Notice his ERS is not falling through the floor at the moment, so I think he's either got an invalidated lap or he's sandbagging a little bit. So he knows his pace and he's just sandbagging a little bit, perhaps playing a bit caution so then he can slap someone with a good time in Q3. So we'll see, but he is coming across the final selection of corners as we're going to see him off board coming across the line. It's going to be interesting to see where he places himself anyway, see if it does invalidate this lap time. He crosses the line with a 30.3. It is an invalidated lap time, but a 30.3 would have actually put him down as far as P12. So yeah, I think he is playing with his ERS settings to really sort that out. So we'll go, I'll tell you what, we'll go back to Adrian because he's on a hot lap himself at the moment. He's going to be crossing the line. He goes P10, so it's a 28.7 for Adrian. He goes P10, so he's easily through to Q2, no problem under that time. But was he pushing?
I don't think he was. Seeing as the tyres are probably 2 laps old, and maybe he doesn't want to push that hard, I guess, into Q1. But
fair play.
Hey.
Dan Bertini, Silver Surfer. Not over until the checkered flag, Mike. I barely qualify in the top 10, and podiums are still possible. Yeah, in Division 1, we can talk about how a lot of the people down who don't get into the top 10, don't get into Q3, still have a real opportunity to sneak their way through into the top steps of those podiums. So it's still an entirely possible thing, and Mike should not be concerned by his P6 because I think around Britain it's definitely possible to sneak up there with a good strategy call. Being emotional though, cracking return for him. He's just come in here and straight into P4, 28.0. Hoonigan though crossing that line and going fastest though, as we were saying, he's just obliterated that lap time and gone with a 27.2. So he's looking incredibly quick at the moment, is Hoonigan. So he's going to be very happy with that lap time. Come into the pits and retire, I think, would be the lap time for him. Adrian the 8th down in P11, Becky Boo P12, and Dr. Gray P14, 29.8. He's not looking fast enough at the moment, so he needs to get some more fuel in as he's going off the track there. I wonder what he's doing. So is he letting someone through maybe? No, I think he's just made a bit of a mistake there, hasn't he?
Running a little bit wide, yes.
Yeah, a bit of a weird one. Now we'll follow on with Kiwi Slice, the American runner running for the American team is Kiwi Slice, currently down in P13 at the moment, P14 now as everything gets updated. Mongdog 27.7 for him at the moment, up in P4, so cracking lap time from him, so he'll be happy. Team Williams out of nowhere come in with some cracking lap times. The British outfit doing a cracking job at the British track, I think,
Yeah, Williams definitely stepping up to the table.
Don't forget, leave your comments in the section on the right or below if you're on the app, and leave it there with the hashtag AskJames or hashtag PWR2BRI, and we'll be sure to answer any questions that you may have. Mongdog though 27.7. We'll take a look at the current ruling at the moment. If you remember, here at SynergyPWR we actually have a rule set in place. That means you must finish within 107% of the fastest lap, and the 107% rule here at this point is a 1 minute 33.411. 1 minute 33.411. So currently everyone is in that, apart from Sphere Cookie, who hasn't set a lap time at the moment, but he is actually on a hot lap as we speak. So let's go to P16, because you may think it's all set in stone at the top of the moment. We're still waiting on this guy at the moment to set a lap time, and he's looking very rapid. He's coming through the final corners. Is he going to be able to beat Pole? And he is, it's 1 minute 27 point. Is that 2:2:39? I can't read that. 2:29, isn't it?
Yeah, that is 1:27.239.
2:39. That is an absolute blistering lap from the Toro Rosso Honda team. He has just shown exactly who he's made of, I think. Following PXM Echoes, a Scottish man playing for reserve here in Mercedes. Internet connection. A little bit dodgy, I think still a bit raceable though. Not too sure if you were on the other end of an internet connection of what you see right there, would you think it's raceable?
I mean, given benefit of the doubt in this situation, I guess, but I wouldn't. Yeah, I don't think personally I would like to be alongside of him.
No, fair play, and obviously we're following now with PXM Echoes as he comes around those selection of corners. Now remember, he was actually a Division 1 runner here at SynergyPWR, but after saying he was no intention of returning to SynergyPWR, we kept his records of course, but after retesting he was determined to be a Division 2 driver when he rejoined back here at SynergyPWR, so he returns to Division 2 with nil points, no points. So whatever points he took in the first part of the season when he was racing in Division 1, he has none of them now in Division 2. So I reckon for Echoes it's going to be a particularly tricky outfit for him to be able to get up there into the top 3 and promote himself back to Division 1. So do you reckon this is a bit of an insider season for him to try and get himself back into league racing, or do you think he really should go all pay straight to try and go for promotion?
I think personally he would want to get promotion straight away, but realistically he's got to really show himself, and perform in this division. Sorry, this division is definitely going to pose a hard battle, and he wants to see if he can actually do well in this division before he can get back into Division 1.
Locking up his front left a little bit there, does Echoes. He's going to come across the line with a 27.6, so he manages to boot himself straight to P5, does Echoes, on 5-lap old soft. So he split the Williams runners, but a great lap there from the Scottish man in the Mercedes. One man going down to Becky Boo at the moment in the Ferrari, down in P14. She's on a hot lap at the moment on her tyre. She's about to finish her lap. She needs to beat a 28.8. She's not going to do it this time around. I think she's wanted to burn off some of that, and there we are. She's away now on a hot lap, so we'll stick with her for a bit. I've been making my voice clear about Becky Boo because she seems to be always in the right place at the right time. She's fast enough to be able to be in the top 10 and then benefit from people crashing out in front of her. So she's currently doing, as far as I know, quite well in the standings at the moment. Becky Boo currently P15. After that would be after France. So she's looking to try and get herself into the top 10, and she's more than welcome to try and do that, as Agent the 8th has retired out of this session. He's had enough with the 28.7. I'm sure, I think it's going to be an intriguing one to watch, especially with an opportunity here, because the Master 20025 is one of the few cars who isn't available to run today, and she has a real opportunity, I think, to take a couple of points off Master and Diverse Jamie, for that matter, who also isn't racing. So she could possibly go from something like P15 to P13 today.
Ooh. Precious points on the board.
There's precious points on board. She could potentially be on for P10 in the standings if she carries on with the performances, but she's still only P14 at the moment here. She is through to Q2 at this rate, but not by much. Dr. Gray currently struggling to get within 4/10 of Kiwi Slice. Looks like the Haas and the Force India struggling to even get onto the board. In fact, Dr. Gray and Kiwi Slice have not left the pits, so that's it for them. And by the looks of things, Echoes has run out of fuel, so he has to go back to the pits because of the new rule that we have here at SynergyPWR. You can't retire on track. Simplicity's sake, the last time we had that, someone retired on the track and caused a permanent yellow flag in the third sector, so no one could overtake for about 10 laps. So we had to implement a rule straight away, with thanks to the drivers who voted on that. Like I said, 44 votes in total for the selection of rules that came in to SynergyPWR. So we're very thankful for all the drivers and all the drivers that came forward and voted on those rules. Being emotional now on a hot lap, he came in with the very last few seconds to have another go. 28.0 is the current lap time he's on at the moment. With possibly the grippiest track he's going to be able to have in Q1. Is he on to try and get himself into the top 5, do you think, Swift?
Well, I certainly hope so. It'd be interesting to see him battling up at the top, especially coming back. Yeah, I think he looks likely to get into the top 5.
Looks likely to get into the top 5, we will see, but he's just crossed Sector 1 by looks of things with a few tenths knocked off, so we'll continue as he goes through through Sector 2 rather. Off board, hopefully that won't invalidate his lap, so we'll keep a firm eye on that one. Comes through Maggots and then Beckett's, particularly
sounds
tricky.
like he's backed out of it.
He does look like he's backing out on this. Oh, I think he made a bit of a mistake with Beckett, so I still think he's running. Nope, now he isn't. Nope, that's the end of that then for being emotional. I think by the looks of things, him going off the track has invalidated his lap, so he finishes in P8, which is all right for Q2. For Q1 into Q2, P8 perfectly fine and very respectable for being emotional. The only car left on track actually, so he's going to be coming across the line to finish this Q1 session. Very intriguing one, I think. So it's 8th for being emotional as he crosses the line, and we get to see the rest of the drivers on the field to see who's been knocked out, the one car that's been knocked out. But we will we'll for sure take a look at the top at the moment though. Grid playing. Sviakuke at the moment at the top, 1 minute 27.239 for him. Just half a tenth separating him from Hoonigan. Again, them two battling really hard. Trickster, 4/10 of a second separating him. And then Morgan Forrest again really close as well, as is PXM Echoes, all separated by less than half a tenth themselves. Mongdog half a tenth separating him from Echoes and Heatproof Ham, also just about a tenth and a half behind. Being emotional, we'll be very happy with P8 on his return to SynergyPWR, out-qualifying his teammate in Q1, Mike David in P9, Jenny Goosh in P10, and the rest of the field as they are, and it's Dr. Gray who gets knocked out. Yeah, really unfortunate for Dr. Gray. He is the recipient of the person who is knocked out here at SynergyPWR People's World Racing for Q1 in the British Grand Prix. We're here for Q2, 15 minutes of sessions to go, and it's going to be the one where we're going to see who is going to play what with the tyre strategy. Anyone on the harder selection of tyres may decide to start on hard tyres. Is that a risk worth taking with 5 people being knocked out here in Q2, do you think, Swift?
Unless you can produce a good lap at the end of that stint, it is a risk, definitely. But I mean, if you want to get your ideas about your strategy into the race down, it's definitely a useful time.
I believe it's one of the Toro Rossos and the Ferrari leaving straight away. It'll be interesting to see the lap data and the tyre choices, so we will see what they are fitted and the lap data as they come on. By the looks of things, selection of soft and mediums, no hards to start off with. So strategy call wise, I personally would do soft hard personally as my tyre strategy. But I'm intrigued. What would they vary without obviously going into detail, because we don't want to break what your tyre strategy could be for tomorrow's race. But what tyre strategies would be considered the best strategies, do you think, on a 50% race around Britain?
I'd have to agree with the soft hard. That's what I would choose tomorrow, just simply because you get a quicker stint in the first stint, and then you tend to get more into the race to become more comfortable, and then when you're with the higher tyre as well, you're able to push that to the end.
I'm intrigued actually to talk about teams now actually, because obviously your teammate with Team Mercedes, ITF and Mulan as your teammate in Division 1 in Mercedes. Do you two have a... I don't know, like, do you two have like a conglomerative effort? Do you keep in touch with each other? Do you stay in the party with each other and talk about what strategy you're going to do to make sure that you don't interrupt each other in the pits? Do you do team orders, or do you just race like constructors don't matter, we are 2 separate drivers? I'm just intrigued in your mentality.
I must admit we don't really talk as in like strategy, but I think we just have this unwritten respect for each other, that in the sense that he's the quicker driver, I must admit. So if he's looking to pit before me or anything, I'll tend to read what he's doing on track. But unfortunately, it doesn't go well because of Monaco. Earlier in the season, it tended to end up bad.
Yeah, it was a bit of an unfortunate situation for Mulan, who was on course to win the Monaco Grand Prix, but then a Danny Ricciardo moment happened where his tyres were simply not ready, and I think the Mercedes team pretty much messed him up, so much so that he lost the Grand Prix. And I think that just sort of reflects how important it is for you guys to keep in contact with each other, really. I think when obviously I raced in SynergyPWR last season in Invitational for Team Renault alongside Sean Gregory, who's also going to be racing tomorrow for Team Ferrari now, actually. It's a big promotion for him. Me and him kept in close contact about what tyre strategies we were going to do, because I wasn't of similar pace to Sean. I was miles off the pace, and I didn't want to interrupt him. So we had either conversing strategies, or we had same strategies, but we always planned 1 lap later or 1 lap earlier. So I think it's of great importance that especially the likes of Adrian and Sphere Cookie, who actually go in a party together and discuss the strategies, and other drivers as well, Mike David and Being Emotional, I think are definitely 2 players who really need to consider their tyre strategy, because Mike David is probably going to be looking to be on the fastest strategy possible here at Britain, his home Grand Prix, to kickstart his career, as Mongdog goes 28.4, so that's a cracking lap time from him on medium tyres. Is that, and then Sphere Cookie nabbing out with a 27.7. Morgan 4S not managing to beat Mongdog this time around though, so medium starts by Mongdog, Sphere Cookie and Morgan 4S, but we are following Hoonigan at the moment in the Ferrari, who is also on medium tyres, so he'll be looking to get a lap time in, and after that we will go to Mini Carrot, because I'll be interested to see how he does on the sauce, but we'll stay with Hoonigan. Comes across the very final selection of corners. Will he be able to cross the line and try and beat that pole position time? He doesn't. He goes P2, 28.1. So he'll be very happy with that one, but we'll go to Mini Carrot. He's now coming across the final selection of corners on soft tyres. Will he be able to beat the lap time? He doesn't. He goes P2 himself with a 28.1. So he's on soft tyres to start with, and he's not faster than Sphere Cookie. So Sphere Cookie on the harder compound, faster than the Sauber on the softs. So intriguing stuff at the moment, I think.
There's a mega lap by Sphere Cookie there on the harder compound tyre.
Heatproof Ham also getting in there as well with the softs, 27.8 for him. So he's only a tenth slower than Sphere Cookie. So I did say McLaren would like to see them getting into action, and so far McLaren Renault suddenly looking quite quick round here. Jenny Goosh writing in the comments here, start on the hards. No, I personally wouldn't start on the hards. I understand why it would be a good idea, because it means that you have a faster soft stint, but in that way are you losing more time on the wrong tyre, which is where you have to sort of consider which is the better tyre to start on. Mike David at the moment on an outlap at the moment, so we'll keep up with him shortly. I won't mind going to Adrian though in P10, because he's now on a hot lap himself on the medium tyres. He's coming around sector 2 at the moment as we go on board, as he goes off the track just a little bit there, catching himself on the gravel. Hopefully we'll go on board with him, as I said, shortly. There we are. Team Toro Rosso Honda looking to sort of really blast his lap here at the moment, I think. Just means that's thinking he's not going quick.
He's playing around with his ERS a lot.
Oh, he's losing that rear end as he goes off the track. He's lost that rear end and caused a bit of a spin there for the Toro Rosso Honda player, but he's on the medium tyres at the moment and he's struggling, isn't he, at the moment, to get a lap in? So nerves maybe, or do you reckon just a mistake?
It must be an honest mistake.
Mistakes do happen here at SynergyPWR, and I'll tell you what, credit where credit's due. He's back on track. He's going to warm up those tyres and give it another go, or maybe even just wrap it up and try a different selection of tyres. Looks like the mediums just aren't quite ready yet. The track may be a bit too green. Mike David, let's pop over to him in P12 at the moment. Now he's coming on now onto Sector 1. 28.3 for Sector 1, so not a bad lap time for him in Sector 1 at the moment, so he's looking quite rapid there. But the number 42 Red Bull, like I said, wants to kickstart his career here and get himself back on the path to try and defend his World Championship. And at the moment, he's just not really up there at the moment, is he? So we'll see how he does through Sector 2, as he's doing quite well, actually, through that long right-hander. Question yourself, actually, because it's been a while since I've raced properly on Britain. But that long right-hander after the old exit, is that one you can take flat now?
It's difficult. I have to just ease off the throttle just a little bit. I can't seem to get set up that manages to stick all the way through that corner.
I think it is possible. I remember doing it one time, just doing tests and everything. But you do have to floor it. Mike David's actually left the session, so that's really unfortunate for him, because he was on a hot lap there. So he's disconnected. So hopefully he'll be reconnect shortly. But we are on board now at the moment with someone, I think. There we are. Paradise Bear. No. We'll get somewhere. Adrian.
Adrian.
We'll go with Adrian. Why not? Adrian looking good in that medium tyre run. Hopefully he won't spin as he comes through the corner that he did spin last time, as we go on board with him. And he's extra cautious through fifth gear, through Maggots and Beckett's. Maybe an invalidated lap, actually, because he's going up the gears quite early. So it's another invalidated lap for that Toro Rosso Honda. So a bit of unfortunate there for Adrian. So he is going to be looking probably to come in and change his tyres now, and yeah, no surprise there, he's coming in to try and change them again. Beat Emotional in P15 though. Now he's coming through to set a lap time himself, and so far very slow. He's obviously had to back off to set another lap. As rear end stepping out there, you just heard the engine then just over revving just to take his rear end. He's obviously using quite a low downforce setup here at Britain. Beat Emotional looking to have a good start again back here at SynergyPWR as Mike David reconnects into the session. Beat Emotional is obviously one that wants to try and keep a firm eye on the standings. He's someone who he's out of it really now to be able to get promotion to Division 1, but I think he's come at a good time to get a nice insight into what the drivers are like here in Division 2. 15 runners, like I said, in Q2, yet to set a lap time. I mean, for people who weren't here in practice earlier, I wouldn't mind asking you again. Obviously, Swift, you've been here from the start. Being Emotional was here from the start as well, then after taking a short break. What is it like to race against Gary? Because, like I said, you've been here from the start, F1 2017. The people who weren't here, what was it like to race against the Red Bull driver?
Well, he's a character to say the least, but he does bring a lot to the table. and he definitely goes out there and tries his best. Yeah, only downfall is, and like I say, unfortunately, he tends to be around a lot of crashes or things that tend to go wrong in the race, but that's no fortune of his own. It's just unfortunate he gets himself in them scenarios.
Straight into the pits for being emotional. I think he obviously gets himself in the wrong place at the wrong time quite a lot, and I think that's the result of, you know, a bit of bad luck and possibly the reason why I decided to backtrack away from Synergy and take a break. But Becky Boo crosses the line in P11. She's not fastest at the moment. Remember, it's the bottom 5 that get knocked out. And it's currently Adrian, Mike, Kiwi and Being Emotional who still haven't set a lap time yet. We'll go on board with Kiwi actually, because Kiwi is still yet to set a lap himself, and he is on the track at the moment to do something. 28 seconds is usually a good sector 1 time. We'll see where Kiwi places himself at the moment. It's 27.9, so he is on course to be a decent lap time here. Is the American runner running an American car in the Haas team this year. Talking of Haas, real life Formula 1 this season, one of the very few constructors next season for the Formula 1 team that isn't going to change their drivers. Obviously Sauber, Antonio Giovinazzi coming in with Kimi Raikkonen. Ferrari, you've got Charles Leclerc coming in. Renault, you've got the likes of so English, I will get it eventually. Danny Ricciardo coming in. Yeah, I don't know where you said to what I was almost going to say Carlos Ricciardo for a second then. Carlos Sainz leaving for Danny Ricciardo, and Carlos Sainz to McLaren because Fernando Alonso's off to IndyCar. The only 2 teams that I remember, if I remember off the top of my head, that aren't changing drivers are Haas and Mercedes.
That would be correct.
So it's going to be interesting to see how Haas do in the real life Formula 1 season. But it's going to be interesting to see where Kiwi Slice places himself here as he goes 1 minute 28.6 above Becky Boo, but not fast enough to get into that top 10 by 0.2 of a second. So he's missed out as Becky Boo crosses the line and improves her lap time, but still can't get into the 28s. Still waiting on Adrian and Mike and Being Emotional to set a lap time at the moment. Adrian will be, I think by the looks of things, first to set a lap. Is Mike David on the lap? P14? Yeah, no, he's about to set a lap now. So Adrian the 8th will be the first person to check. So let's go with Adrian. Let's go with our good old pal Adrian again then as he sets a lap. And he's slow again, isn't he? So I think he's made another mistake. He's struggling to set a lap, isn't he, Adrian? He's making too many mistakes. I wonder, what do you reckon the reason is for that? Do you reckon just genuine mistakes, or do you reckon that spun has really sort of got into his head a little bit?
I certainly hope not, but it seems to me like he's definitely got something wrong in that Toro Rosso.
May not be. Ooh, Mike David just cooping off to the side there, so fingers crossed that won't have affected him too badly. Adrian the 8th though, yeah, he seems, since that spin, he seems to just be a little bit off the pace. He keeps making mistakes which are forcing him, and there, Mike David going wide and just keeping it in a straight line. Number 42, Red Bull, currently struggling to also set a lap time. So we've got pretty quick drivers here who are struggling to set lap times, perhaps getting caught out by the obvious corners, turn 1 being a major problem, obviously Maggots and Beckett's being another. Next person to set a lap time after this will be Being Emotional, so we'll see where the 2 Red Bulls place themselves with 2 minutes left in this Q2 session. Currently them 3 alongside Becky Boo and Kiwi Slice will be knocked out of this session as Matt David catching that rear end again. So he's clearly, like Being Emotional, using a pretty low downforce setup I think around here in Britain. We'll see how he comes though as he crosses the line here, and crosses the line and sets a 1 minute 30.0, so he is off the pace and he's not fast either, so it will be Being Emotional I think next to set a lap time. So we'll keep we'll stay on board with Being Emotional at the moment. Like we're talking about both of them using the sort of setups that we're talking about, obviously about low downforce. Is low downforce a preference for yourself, Swift, or do you prefer a slightly higher downforce round here?
I tend to go for a lower downforce, but I tend to shift it more towards the understeer type of balance of the car.
I know a lot of people have got quite a they've got different setup ideologies. I think for me personally, I prefer an oversteery type of setups. I prefer to have the car slide out of a corner and me be able to plant that power down. I personally prefer that, but I know a lot of drivers prefer the understeery kind of setup, such as yourself. Is it just a preference, or is it just feel like you're a lot faster out of those corners? I'm just curious.
I'm a lot faster, but it depends what track I'm on. Like Britain, I'd rather slide the front end of the car out and then just carry the
being
power
emotional.
through.
Sorry to interrupt. Being Emotional, just powering himself up to P2. 27.5 for being emotional. He's coming here to try and tackle and basically win this one by the looks of things. We'll go on board with Adrian. He's the last person to set a lap time at the moment. It's going to be interesting to see where he puts himself as he goes P3 across the line. Does Adrian? He saves himself from being knocked out, and it will be Mike David, it will be Kiwi Slice, Mongdog, it will be Becky Boo, and it will be Jenny Gooch who will be knocked out of here at this rate. Hoonigan hovering really, really dangerously. He was looking really quick. Oh, there you go. See a mini carrot there, nearly getting caught out by the Red Bull. So, bit of an unfortunate one there, but mini carrot I think will be safe anyway, as the lights go out. Is Mike David on a hot lap at the moment, or is he on an in lap? I think he's on an in lap, isn't he? He is. So, Mike David
out.
Current defending world champion, starting P15 here in Q2. That's not going to help his confidence one bit, I don't think, is it?
Definitely not. Unfortunately,
Mongdog still to set a lap rather. So Bean Emotional will be very happy. He's outqualified his teammate as a reserve driver for the first time in his first race. He'll be very happy with that one. Mongdog is the person that we're following on at the moment. He's currently P12. He's trying to save himself from being knocked out here at Q2. Not a bad Maggots and Beckett. It's a little bit of understeer, I think. We're coming out of that corner. Goes off the track. And it's a spin. Oh, he held it. But I think that might just be it for the Williams. Yeah, really unfortunate stuff there for Mongdog. He's clearly got caught out by quite a bit of understeer coming through Beckett's. I think he comes into the bits and he's just going to have to consolidate P12. Mike David down in P15. Really poor lap time, actually, to put it bluntly. What would you reckon would be the best course of action for him? Just tyre strategy now, start on hards and hope for the best, or?
Yeah. Stick the hardest tyre on and see. Or maybe go to the mediums. Don't start on the softs.
Don't start on the softs, says ZG Swift of Division 1 to Mike David of Division 2, defending world champion, starting P15 after a very poor qualifying for the Red Bull runner. The Red Bull reserve out-qualifying him for the first time in his first race. The only person we're waiting for to retire is Mongdog, as he's now in the pits, and we will get through to the next session here in Q3. Interesting qualifying for sure. Becky Boo out also in P14, Kiwi Slice down in P13, and we'll take a look at the rest of the boards as the sheet comes available. Just waiting on everyone ready up to see how many points they received in that qualifying session, and the grid music will begin to play. And there it is. So we've got Morgan Forrest managing to get to the top of the standings in the Williams, 127.4, and Being Emotional doing a cracking job as well. In P2, Adrian the 8th will be happy with P3, Sphere Cookie, P4, Keep Pam, P5, Paradise Bear, P6, Trickster, P7, PXM Echoes, P8, Jenny Gooch, P9, and Mini Carrot manages to sneak into P10, knocking out one of the favourites for pole position, Hoonigan, who didn't do a cracking job of the mediums. He's down in P11 and knocked out of Q2. Mongdog will be happy in P12 with Kiwi Slice in P13, Becky Boo down in P14, and the defending world champion of Mike David is out of Q2 down in P15. Shocking stuff, do you think, for Mike David, or is this one little thing that is to be expected?
Might be a little bit of nerves, but I mean, it's a long race, so...
Long race, depends what strategy.
You might be able to claw it, right?
He's got the option to start on any tyre, unlike these 10 who managed to get through to Q3. They'll be starting on their Q2 tyre compounds, and that would be Adrian Morgan, Mini Carrot, Paradise Bear, Trickster, Jenny Goose, PXM Echoes Being Emotional, Heatproof Ham, and Sphere Cookie. I think they'll be very happy with that one, actually. It is Toro Rosso and Sauber. No surprise there, I've got through to this session. PXM Echoes will be very happy to get through to his Q3 session as a reserve driver, as will Being Emotional. And make note, both McLarens are also through as well. So this, I think, is going to be a very, very interesting Q3. Straight away, both the Williams and the Toro Rosso straight out. And by the looks of things, I think everyone's going to be getting a hot lap in straight away. 12 minutes to get this done, so what do you reckon? Two very, very light loads of fuel and soft tyres, or do you reckon you do a couple of insider laps and then do one absolute belter of a lap at the end? I mean, what's your approach to Q3?
Q3, just go all out, guns blazing.
So as little fuel as
Tend
possible
to,
and just do it.
Yeah, exactly right. That way you tend to get a grip of what the fastest lap you can produce is, and if you then don't do something right that lap and pick apart it, and hopefully improve in the second lap.
I think for sure it's going to be an interesting one. Callum White, other than Orbit Nations, driver for Ferrari in Division 1. Good evening to you. Jamie for pole. And possibly Trig for pole. So I don't know what to work with that, but Trig for pole. Potentially. I think Trigster could be up there. I think the Williams, don't sort of discount them. I think they're highly likely. Tom, 1, 2, 3 for the win for Team Williams. Doesn't put faith in his brothers in arms in the other Williams car in Division 2 and says it's either going to be Cookie or Adrian, so he's got faith in the Toro Rossos to get pole position here today, but we'll keep firm eye on that one. Hashtag pray for Jamie, says Tom. Becky Boo 84 only had one set of mediums and had one chance, so she's ready for the race. So she's only got that one set of mediums. So what do you reckon that is for Becky Boo? Is that a 2-stop?
Ooh, definitely opening
Start
up
on
to
mediums and a couple of soft runs. Oh, Sphere Cookie losing that rear end just a bit, held it well though. He's flooring it to the line now for the DRS as it's wide open and coming across here for the end of Sector 1. He crosses the line 27.3, so he's looking rapid as there's a little bit of a lock up there from the front tyres. Do you run with or without ABS, Swift?
I run with ABS personally.
Run with ABS. Have you experienced what it's like to drive without ABS? I personally run without ABS on the controller, but dependent on the track actually. If it's something like Britain, I can run without it, but if it's something like Italy, I have to run with it. I use it in my career more than I do in my multiplayer, because I don't know, it feels a lot better going into an online race with some sort of like safety mechanism behind the brake, because I'm not too good at using it at this moment in time, but I mean, I don't want to sacrifice that for other people and end up sliding straight into the back of them. I need to get better at definitely using, not ABS. Big thanks to Soundless Zero as well for following us here at SynergyPWR. You can add your follow to this list as Sphere Cookie gets 127.2 and goes pole on the immediate adjudication. We'll keep firm eye as Morgan goes even faster. He gets into the 27.2s himself and beats him by 7/10 of a second as Trigster gets into the 26s. That's Team Sauber beating into the rankings of the 26s. Fantastic stuff on this first Q3 session. Trigster belting that lap in. Keep firm eye on Adrian the 8th. He's still on a hot lap at the moment, as is Being Emotional, as is Echoes actually for that matter, as is Minicow. So we'll stick with Adrian, as he, by the looks of things, is not looking for a lap, as Being Emotional has actually crashed. He's out, so he's out and starts P10. So it's a bit of a poor Q3 from him. He was looking to possibly get up there, and I think he may have made a mistake and has retired. So a bit unlucky from the Red Bull runner, so he'll be starting P10. He still out-qualifies his teammate though, so he'll be happy with that one at least. Adrian the 8th has abandoned that previous lap due to what seems to be a bit of a mistake. So we'll go to Paradise Bear, because he's currently still on his hot lap at the moment. He's crossing the line and is also now just about to start his fast lap. How about Mini Carrot at the moment? We're not discounting the other Sauber driver at the moment. He's also on a hot lap, and he's looking mighty quick as well. He needs to get into the 26s if he wants to try and take pole. Is this going to be out of his depth? It might just be this time. He's into the pits, and he abandons this lap as well with 7 minutes to go. So, early indications suggest Sauber is on the front face here, and Toro Rosso are struggling. It's an interesting one, isn't it, Swift, to see Toro Rosso not really looking at the top steps at the moment, the front row.
No, you are correct there, my friend. Adrian just being off the pace a little bit. Didn't see that time in Sector 2.
He is a 10th and a half up in Sector 2, so not too sure where his previous lap time was originally, but he is a 10th and a half up. This is where he abandoned his lap, so this is where we'll start to see the lap time as Jenny Gooch gets a 28.1. Heatproof Han with a 27.8, and Adrian only managed to get a 27.9, so he's nearly a second down actually on P1 at the moment. So looks like Toro Rosso, although getting through to Q3, Maybe a bit of sandbagging on immediate adjudication, or do you reckon this might be them struggling?
Looks as if it's the early stages of struggling. Hopefully teammate Sphere Cookie can all the stops, but
Yes.
as we see Adrian slowing down right now.
Yeah, it's very interesting at the moment to see, and the two McLarens have actually decided to come in out of nowhere, and they've split the two Toro Rossos now. Paradise Bear on the back of the second row, and Heat Proof on the front of the third. So cracking stuff there from the McLaren runners. Let's go to PXL Echoes, P9 at the moment in the Mercedes. Now he is on an outlap at the moment, so he's looking to start his lap. Do you reckon? I reckon this guy could actually be quite a big feature, you know, in this race. He could genuinely be one of the races here that I think is really going to start separating a lot of the drivers. You know, like how the McLarens have separated the two Toro Rossos. Could this Scottish man in a Mercedes here be the one that separates a few more runners as well? It's going to be an interesting view, I think.
Yeah, it seems like he's going to be quick. Seeing as is he the driver that came from Division 1?
He did come from Division 1, yeah. He came from Division 1, left due to personal commitments, needed to take a step back from all esports racing. He's come back, had to be retested and actually lost a little bit of pace, so much so he was dropped to Division 2 with 0 points. So, a bit unfortunate actually for Echoes, but he's starting his fast lap now, so we'll see where he positions. Looking very quick through turn 1 actually. Foot was very planted, so this car's running a slightly higher downforce, so a bit of understeer, a bit too quick through turn 3 I think. Turn 4, he then keeps that foot planted a little bit earlier than really. He got a little bit more space to go, and then again that understeer. He's got quite a bit of understeer, so it's going to be. It looks like something like 2728 wings, doesn't it?
Hmm.
Not
And it's not
a setup.
not holding as well as we'd like to. Definitely redlining that thing like crazy.
Trying to get the best out of what is essentially the best engine on the grid. The Mercedes runner currently now going through with his foot flat to the floor. Holds it really well actually, as WR10 actually reconnects into the session, but he will be starting from the back of the grid. So he'll be starting from 17, will Ted, after doing his practice session. But one person to keep a firm eye on is DRS Open for the Mercedes runner, the reserve runner actually for that matter, PXN Echoes, as he's coming around the selection of corners here. The very slight selection of corners. It's going to be a close battle. Will it be the one that separates a bunch of other runners as well, including Morgan, Trickster, Sphere Cookie, and the two McLarens, and Adrian for that matter? It comes through the final selection of corners. Will he be able to do anything with them? He flows it down to the line and takes that final corner and places himself in P4. He separates even further the two Toro Rossos and keeps the McLarens and puts both of the McLarens on the third row of the grid.
Good lap there by PXM Echo, sorry.
Is going to be, I think, an intriguing factor. Phoenix Motorsport will be very happy with his performance in Division 2 so far. Reconnecting in, he'll be very happy. Drivers now coming on to outlaps again. I don't think Echoes is going to be able to get on another lap now. I think he's going to have to come in and then that will be it. He'll be very lucky to get another lap in. So he may fall even further, but we will see. Morgan 4S is now on a hot lap and he's on the old softs. He hasn't changed his tyres, so he's not changed. Do you reckon he's possibly run out of tyres and he's on his freely most available? Maybe.
Yeah. Unless he stayed out the previous lap. I didn't see him going to the pits, but
maybe. We'll have to see. He is on a hot lap at the moment. We'll keep a firm eye on that one. We will drop though to Heatproof Ham in P6 at the moment. He's also on a hot lap on fresh softs. He's about to finish his lap now. He's about to start his lap rather, as Mini Carrot then separates the two McLarens on the third row of the grid. He goes P6. Ham is now P7. So he'll be wanting to try and get himself into the rankings. I've actually got the statistics up now actually, so we'll take a quick look at the driver statistics. And at the moment, it's actually kind of an interesting one because when we get actually everything set up and ready, because it's going to take a while because I'm still getting used to this statistic board. It's amazing. Adrian the 8th actually set it up as Echoes has decided to retire, so no surprise there. He has gone into the pits and finished his session. The two McLarens are actually separated at the moment quite well. If Paradise Bear in qualifying has, I think by the looks of things, managed to achieve more out qualification. Heatproof Ham has actually achieved more out qualifications over his teammate. So this would be a good little boost for Paradise Bear if he does manages to stay in front of Heatproof Ham in the qualifying stats. But at the moment, Heatproof Ham is currently behind in P7, and he is on a hot lap and is not on old tyres. So these are brand new, fresh tyres. It's going to be interesting to watch as this develops. Now flowing onto the line with the DRS wide open. Where do you reckon Heatproof Ham is coming here? It's looking quick.
Let's hope for above Paradise Bear. You obviously want to beat your teammate.
If he goes P5, he will push Mini Carrot down to P7 and lock out the third row again for McLaren. He does need to get 26.9 if he wants to try and beat that pole position from Trigster. Cracking lap time actually from him, but we'll see what he does. He comes across the line and sets a 27.2. So he does exactly what you said. He beats Paradise Bear, pushes Mini Carrot down, and McLaren locks out the third row again.
Yeah, it's a good lap from McLaren.
Sphere Cookie also on a hot lap at the moment. He's a 10th up, so he's managed to find a 10th in the first sector. He's now going to be coming round here. He's found a 10th in the last lap, so he's now actually up to doing 27.1 as Trickster goes even faster, 26.4 for the Sauber runner as he crosses the line and still has another opportunity to improve that lap even further if he has the fuel to do it. So Trickster absolutely flying at the moment for Team Sauber in that car. I mean, it's absolutely speechless by that lap time for Division 2. That's no disrespect, but a really good lap time from the Sauber.
Yeah, that is a mega lap.
Mega lap from him. Sphere Cookie, though, on a hot lap, he's looking to try and find now a target of, well, how many tenths is that now? You're talking nearly 7 tenths. He's coming through Sector 2 now. We'll see as he goes wide. He's trying to find as much space as he can. But I think he's another one of those cars. He's only found half a tenth at most. So he is struggling.
Let me pick it up in Sector 3.
Oh, it's a big lock-up.
It's gone off.
Yeah, it's a big lock-up and he's out. Now, that's a real shame from Sphere Cookie. Big lock-up. Tried to go in there with more pace and he just didn't have the brakes to do it. He's out and we'll stick with P2 rather. Unlucky for him. We'll take a look at P6 at the moment as Jenny Gooch is also on a hot lap, as is Adrian the 8th for that matter, so we'll keep a firm eye on that one. Adrian the 8th just in front actually by the looks of things, so we'll go to Adrian the 8th as he goes across the board. He's currently P9, he needs to find more pace if he wants to try and meet up with his teammate. Currently down in currently up in P2 rather, and in the wall he crosses the line and only goes P7, it's 27.5 as Jenny Gooch crosses the line and stays P6. So Mini Carrot and Adrian the 8th are both severely separated from their teammates from the top of the board of this Q3 session. And as I suggested, PXM Echoes, the Williams of Morgan 4S, and the Haas of Jenny Gooch have really sort of separated them and put like a midfield right in between the front runners. So it's going to be a really, really, really good race, this, I think.
Yes, I would definitely agree with you there. Time's looking good. Very close. It'll be an exciting first lap for sure.
Just waiting on Trickster for him to exit it from the pits and retire, and he'll be very happy with that actually, because it does put him in a prime position to take this session, and I think he'd be going to be magnificently happy, I think.
Yes, especially with that pole.
Yeah, we'll be very happy with that pole position. We'll take a quick look at the final standings as soon as everyone readies up. And there you can see right there, just Trickster's times. There we go. As the good music plays, you see Trickster takes on P1. Do you want to leave the race director probably? We'll just have a quick look. There we go. Trickster going top of the step. Sphere Cookie P2, Morgan P3, PXM Echoes P4, Heatproof Ham P5, Jenny Gooch P6, Adrian 8th will be very happy with P7, and Paradise Bear P8. Mini Carrot will be a bit disappointed, I think, with P9, and I think one person that definitely will be disappointed will be being emotional. He was on fire for a good position here, crashing out earlier. He sits himself in P10. Be a bit disappointed with that one, but we go through nonetheless to the race. We'll be back after this title sequence. Just keep it quiet and I'll let you know when you're live.
though. He's off, he's gone. On the inside, it's so he's going to keep it going on the inside. Losing it though, lost it. And what a fantastic win for them.
Good evening, SynergyPWR viewers across the world. Welcome to the SynergyPWR People's World Racing round number 10, season 1 here at the Silverstone International Circuit. It's the British Grand Prix, and it is the home Grand Prix here for many of the drivers here, and the home Grand Prix for SynergyPWR, and the home Grand Prix for my co-commentator here tonight, none other than ZG Swift Team Mercedes in Division 1. Good evening.
Good evening, guys.
Nice to have you on board with us here for this British Grand Prix, one of my favourite circuits on the calendar. I think I'm a bit biased saying that, though, to be fair, as you could tell by my accent, British person. We've got a bit of time. We've got about 5 minutes, actually. The official start time is 9:15. That's 20:45 UK time. And an amazing qualifying, suggesting that we're going to have quite a bit of battling in the midfield today, I think.
Yeah, it's going to be very tight indeed. Going to be looking for about maybe a tenth of a second difference between a couple of them. It's definitely going to be a nice, close first corner.
I think it's going to be an interesting one for sure. I mean, my main concern is going to be definitely turn 1, 2, 3, especially with the likes of Adrian the Eighth, Mike David, being emotional. All of these very fast drivers that were showing pace that could possibly put them on pole position are all starting really low down. We've got Mike David down in P15. We've got Being Emotional down in P10 after crashing out in Q3. We've got Adrian the Eighth down in, where is it, P6, I think it was? Or was it P?
Yes, or P7, I think.
P7. And then we have the likes of Suya Cookie and Trickster leading the way, and Mini Carrot down in P9. So we've got these very quick drivers that should be really up there, really towards the back. So it's going to be interesting to see how the two McLarens who have separated them, PXM Echoes and Jenny Gooch, are basically going to keep them separated, and how their defensive manoeuvres at the very start is going to be. I'm also intrigued as well about the tyres that the drivers are going to start on. So I wouldn't mind taking a quick look at the race director, if you don't mind, because if you take a quick look here, you can see obviously the top 10 obviously have to start on the tyres that they did Q2 in. The majority of them doing soft runs, occasional few others doing mediums. But look at that. There's only one driver that's using the hard tyre, and it's Mongdog. He's starting on the hard, so he'll be doing a one-stop hards to softs, won't he?
Yeah, I'd like to think so. Get the maximisation out of them hard tyres and look to do the quick stint at the end of the race.
We'll take a quick look down the rest of the field as well. We've got Becky Boo down in P14, Mike David in P15 as well. They're on mediums, and the rest are on softs. Hoonigan, though, electing. He was a shocker, actually. Hoonigan was one of the favourites to take pole. He actually got knocked out in Q2. He's starting on mediums as well. Is the one stop possible if you start on mediums, do you think?
Yeah, in a weird type of way. I mean, we can definitely see the tyre progressing to the latter stages, but I hope you wouldn't want to do a two-stop on that.
Well, we'll go back anyway, back to the waiting screen. But it's looking very interesting for sure to see who's actually going to win this one based on their strategy. I'm going to be very intrigued by Mongdog's hard tyre strategy, so I'm going to keep a firm eye on that one. Hard tyre, not really the best tyre to start on for starting, because I think obviously it takes a while for them to warm up, especially on what is a relatively green track. We're expecting as well that the conditions are going to be dry throughout, which is very unusual because it's Britain. So it's going to be lovely.
Indeed.
It's going to be lovely and warm by the looks of things. It's going to be, what do we call it up north? Shirt and shorts weather, I think we call it up here. It's going to be an interesting one, I think, to keep a firm eye out on. 20:45 is now just elapsed, so the drivers now can ready up whenever they wish to, and then there you are. You see drivers now doing exactly that. We're going to have the reconnaissance lap beforehand. Early suggestions for who you feel your favourite to win is?
Ooh. I reckon one of the back starters, maybe Mike David, maybe Adrian, might come up and snatch this win in this one.
So you think your favourite's going to be with one of the people at the back? Personally, one of my favourites, Touchwood, and obviously no hope for commentators, because it is going to be the likes of Trickster and Sphere Cookie, but we are now going to see them warm up the tyres. Just before we do that, we'll be sure to put the position changes up on the screen to make sure that we don't have any mistakes. It's listed under detail. and we'll be able to see obviously who has the bad start and who has the good start. Yeah, I think one of my personal favourites is probably going to be Trigster, Sphere Cookie, Morgan 4S and Echoes are definitely going to be up there, I think, as well. Chances of podiums, Trigster, Cookie, but I don't think Echoes or Morgan are going to end up finishing on the podium. I think there's something going to happen, because I know Echoes, I know Morgan, and Morgan is a good driver, but also very aggressive, and I think he has a real chance that somewhere around Britain could end up making a bit of a mistake. So I'm going to put my money on one of the McLarens getting on that third place step. I think it'll be Ham. I've got faith in Ham, thinking it can absolutely blast it away as they come down now the back end straight, the previous old straight actually for that matter. NW Knoll, not with Echoes behind him, mate, says Morgan. So obviously we're talking about him being on the step of the podium. He thinks because Echoes is going to be there, there's highly unlikely Morgan's could be theirs. He actually gets disqualified for what seems to be a collision. Hopefully he wasn't on the grass when it happened, because if he did, he might be onto a bit of an issue, because it means he might have dirt on his tyres when he starts. So fingers crossed that won't be a bit of a problem.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, if you crash into someone and you're on the grass when it happens, you could actually have dirt on your tyres when you line up on the grid when you obviously get disqualified. So hopefully, fingers crossed, it won't be a problem.
Okay, everybody has just disconnected.
Oh, it's big.
Or disqualified.
Yeah, big disqualified. So it looks like there's been a bit of a... Oh, it's very unusual. It looks like there's been a bit of a collision. Hopefully not too much of an issue. When they line up on the grid anyway, hopefully everything should sort itself out. But the drivers are now lining up on the grid. And we'll place our timer back on the Trigster marker for P1 as we are now not counting down the lights. As we are 3, 4 and 5 lights, and they are a go. The drivers, here they are. Now obviously we've got Trigster coming up on the inside with Sphere Cookie coming up on the inside. A bit of a really poor start. There's a huge collision between the bunch of the Ferraris there as Kiwi Slice and Mongdog immediately getting removed there straight away. Looks like some severe problems by the looks of things with a few people, as Adrian the 8th has had a really poor start. Sphere Cookie having a really poor start as well. So both Toro Rosso's down the order. We've got the, by the looks of things, the Mercedes of Ted doing a cracking job up to P7, 10 positions gained for him. We've got Being Emotional up 5 positions as well, as gets squeezed off by his teammate Mike David, and a 5-second stop go for ignoring a yellow flag for Being Emotional, so clearly some significant issues there. Mini Carrot up to P3, Jenny Goosh up to P4, and Morgan 4S up to P1, but so far the fast runners all having a really, really poor start.
It seems to me there was a nice accident off the line.
Yeah, it seems to be an accident straight off the line. Looks like a really poor start from Sphere Cookie leading to that, as the outside there of Mini Carrot like just glazing past right Jenny Goosh and then leaving him the space to go around, and there goes Mini Carrot into P2. This is going to help and benefit, no doubt, endlessly the likes of the Saubers, because both of those Toro Rossos are down the order massively, P12, P13. In fact, by looks of things, Sphere Cookie been letting him through straight away. We'll go up to P6, because P6 at the moment is looking like they've got a bit of a battle going on as Jenny Goosh gets overtaken by the other Sauber. We'll go to P6, hopefully. WWR Ted is there at the moment, looking to try and make an overtaking move as we go on board with him. He's looking to try and get around Mike David at the moment, who actually forced his teammate off the track a little bit earlier. So hopefully that won't sort of be ridiculed in the end, because it looked a little bit dangerous in my opinion. But WWR Ted and Mike David actually came to arrears at one point actually in the previous race at France, where there was a bit of a collision between the two of them, and Ted's trying to go down up the inside, but no space to be able to do that just yet, so maybe a bit of a dive up the outside, and then a bit of a switchback move on the inside of 4, but it's not looking like it's going to happen just yet as we go off board and we move on to the people coming down into the pitch. You can see Being Emotional up to P11, but I think he's disconnected from the session, choosing to, I think, leave actually, is Being Emotional. Jenny Goosh, Adrian, Sphere Cookie and PXM Epicos, all 4 of them getting a front wing change by the looks of things. Adrian's actually stuck in the pits at the moment. I think that may be due to the Actually, I'm not too sure why he's stuck in the pits at the moment.
Has he got a 5-second time penalty? There we go.
Potentially. No, potentially. A bit of a weird one at the moment, so we'll keep a firm eye on why that happened, but he's going to be at a severe disadvantage, is Adrian, as is Sphere Cookie at the moment. Sphere Cookie is looking like his lead in the championship may just be in a bit of spot of bother at the moment. Ted already with a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. That's 3 warnings already for Ted, so he's looking like he's going to play a bit of a dangerous game as we head up to P3 and P2, as the Saubers have decided to swap position at the moment as he head through those turns there, and Trigster managing to sneak his way past. 6 seconds of difference from Morgan 4S though at the moment. I mean, I'm not being funny, but I'd absolutely love to get some footage back of what happened at that start, because that was a magnificent crash by the looks of things.
Yeah, it looked like Severe Cookie didn't get well off the line, and the back end kind of got a little bit loose, and definitely ended up being bumper cars going down that starting.
Yeah, maybe a bit of a weird one, isn't it? But we'll keep a firm eye on the rest of the field. We'll go down actually to P5 at the moment as Ted is getting up the rear end again of Mike David. Now remember, we actually have a new rule implemented now, that if you drive up too close to someone and cause them to spin out because of the glitch that's with either the rear or the front of the cars, you will end up being penalised as if it was a collision. And you can see there a bit of more of a gap up the inside as Ted is looking like to go up on the inside. Hopefully we'll go on board with Mike David, and I tell you what, on board with Mike David at the moment, and that is some really good battling. And right there is, I mean, considering the collision that's happened back in France, that's led to some big altercations, this is really fantastic racing, with Hoonigan also getting in there in the mix as well, and Ted finding that space out of nowhere to close between the two, and Ted is struggling to keep onto the boundaries of the track. On board with Hoonigan hopefully, so we can see what's happening between the two of them in front. You can see right there Hoonigan is getting up close and personal, and oh, there's a collision! There's the collision with Hoonigan, spinning out Ted right there.
Talking about it.
And we were literally talking about it. You get up close and personal. That was quite clearly not a collision, but it will be penalised as a collision. That is really unfortunate for Hoonigan. He's now down the order as Becky Boo is looking like he's going to make an overtake, but no, she sticks back and stays in P8. And we were just talking about it, weren't we? Right there.
Into the pits. Yeah, unfortunately that gearbox hitbox is not good.
The gearbox hitbox detection rears its ugly end again, and you can see that. Oh geez, Paradise Bear, his internet connection's under investigation, surely for poor internet, and surely he's going to end up getting a reprimand for that, because I don't know what's happening, but he's lagging all over the place, isn't he?
Yeah, it seems to be like his car's skipping about quite a bit.
One person to make note of, by the way, Mike David up in P4 at the moment. I mean, whatever bad start happened, he's benefited from massively. 11 positions gained for the Red Bull runner. He's up to P4 and looking like he could be on the way to getting some good points in his fight for the championship again at his home Grand Prix, so surely he'll be very happy with P4.
Oh, yellow flag, sector 3.
Yellow flags in sector 3, don't understand why, but they've all disappeared now as WR Ted again off the boundaries of the track. He's struggling to stay within boundaries of the track at the moment here. Perhaps a bit of a poor setup for the for the 9th place runner here in the Mercedes. On board with him now as he's trying to get up and close and personal with Paradise Bear. Bit of a risky one, I think, actually, at the moment, because WR Ted is looking at the moment to try and get himself really, really up there, and these both have got really poor internet connections, or noted to have, so fingers crossed it won't be too much of an issue, but an overtake potentially coming. DRS wide open. Oh, it's a bit of a dive, isn't it?
Internet connection is definitely not helping WR Ted out.
Yeah, definitely not helping him either. But he's defended from Paradise Bear, close and personal, shutting that door, and definitely another 3-second tap penalty. He is cutting corners galore, is Ted, and he's really struggling to stay within the boundaries of the track. If he carries on, he could be at serious risk of getting disqualified actually at this rate. Paradise Bear's internet connection is all over the place, isn't it?
Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear.
Off board then, we hope to see Paradise Bear as he's still trying to get up close and personal, dive up the inside, but Paradise Bear may have to consider retiring actually from this, because quite honestly I don't think it can be under investigation any longer. Its internet is lagging all over the place.
Yeah, it's not good for other drivers, especially if he goes into the back of WR Ted in this scenario.
I think it's got to be worth considering, and I think PWR Race Control is going to forward a message for Paradise Bear to come into the pits and retire, because quite honestly they are not good enough to race at the moment.
If I could just add, Becky Boo. Well, the gearbox of Dr. Gray doing well. 7 position changes. Got the DRS. Going to try and go around the outside.
No surprise there. Again, the PWR race control actually just making note. Black flag, Paradise Bear, internet connection issues are too severe to continue racing. Come into the pits and retire. It's quite apparent that Paradise Bear's internet. There's definitely a spin from WWR Ted. And there goes Paradise Bear actually. Was that a collision between Paradise Bear and Becky Boo, or Ted and Becky? I don't understand that. What happened there?
Becky Boo lost the position to Dr. Gray on the inside, and then as the car came away from itself, WWR Ted come up the inside of Becky. Obviously, unfortunately, didn't see him, I don't think, and WWR Ted has tried to go around the corner. She didn't see him, and just the 2 cars collided, and then unfortunately Paradise Bear being the spectator in that scenario, going straight into the back.
Well, actually, Paradise Bear was actually black flagged for internet connection issues, so that's pretty much an end to his race anyway. So it was the end for Paradise Bear. He was on his in-lap regardless. So unfortunate circumstance for Paradise Bear. He is out in P13. We are down to 13 runners here as Adrian the 8th makes that move with Mini Carrot, getting a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. I did say it would be an interesting race for the midfield. I didn't quite think it would be that interesting.
No, it's definitely been a great race so far.
We go on board with WWR Ted at the moment. This is with the DRS wide open, I think, for him and Dr. Gray. I mean, is it a matter of time for WWR Ted?
Seems to be he's been slipping away this last 2 sectors. He was definitely within 0.4 of him as he started the lap, but he seemed to slip away.
Well, at the moment, he is actually a wheel runner.
Might got nice.
Ted, if I remember correctly. He is running with a wheel. And he was actually, when he was racing under the alternative gamer tag Flamer, was showing some real pace and actually getting some advice from a lot of our Division 1 runners to how to run with a wheel. So far, with 9 seconds worth of penalties at the moment, is WWR Ted. So he's going to have to get a shift on if he wants to try and overtake Dr. Gray and then maintain some kind of gap. Actually, I won't mind... Let's take off the position changes. Let's take a look at the tyre strategy as WWR Ted is looking like he's going to come up on the inside of Dr. Gray and hitting up the inside there, off board hopefully. We can see where they are on track at the moment, and you can see trying to hold on the outside is Dr. Gray in that Force India. And I'll tell you what, this is some really fantastic racing between the 2 Mercedes power run, but right there, WWR Ted absolutely storming away from it, I think.
Yes, definitely held that inside very well.
Worth making note, both of the Toro Rosso runners who were starting quite well, as Ted again struggling to stay within track boundaries. Both Toro Rossos running on hard tyres. Jenny Gooch also running on a hard tyre. Hoonigan running on soft tyres. Ted gets another 3-second time. So he's up to 12 seconds already. We're only 7 laps into this 26-lap race. If he carries on, surely there's going to be penalisations to a point of disqualification, isn't it?
He's getting close to it.
Getting close. It's a bit of a weird one, but currently the Mercedes reserve at the moment, WWR Ted, running away in P6. We'll go to P4 at the moment as Mike David is now getting up close and personal with Mini Carrot to go on board with him and see how it's all going. It's going to be an interesting race to see, because you can see right there Mike David now getting up and quick again on Mini Carrot at the moment, and you can see how quick he is actually on those medium tyres. Clearly the softs are now well past the sell-by date, do you think?
Yes, it seems to be that Mini Carrots haven't got the traction he needs really to get away from Mike David, and that seems to be present on the medium tyre.
Who's your favourite to win this then? But now, I mean, I said it was Trigster Morgan potentially. I think I did anyway. I can't remember. But who do you think is your? Who do you think your favourite is personally?
Well, still to go. I think Trigster's probably going to nab it. Seeing as Morgan had a 6-second lead, and it's now been cut down to 2 seconds by Trigster.
Clearly the softs are definitely
getting up. Yeah, he's getting quicker and quicker, so Trigster might bring the fight.
Ted again with another 3-second time penalty. He's up to 15 seconds worth of penalties at the moment. But I was saying Mike David was getting up close and personal, but he's also on softs behind him. Heatproof Ham, he's getting up close and personal. So it's a 3-way battle for P3 here at this rate, as Dr. Gray gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings as we go on board with Heatproof Ham. It's looking like it's going to be a very close battle. And can I just say, by the way, I know that we were saying, weren't we, no rain, but it's getting quite dark.
Yes, I must admit that is There's a nice cloud looking over that stand there.
That's looking very dark in Sector 3, so I think there's there could be a chance of rain here at this rate. We'll have to see. Mike David getting up close and personal again with mini carrots. It's looking like there's potential for P3 swap here, but we'll keep a firm eye on this battle as it carries on. Alanzia, by the way, not sure if you know him, but he's been supporting you for quite a while in Division 1. ZG doing a great job commentating, says Alanzia, by the way. So big shout out to him. Mike David getting up close and personal, potential overtake happening. We'll go off board and have a look at the battle happening for P3 at the moment as Mike David is making an overtake on the outside. He's in the podium positions, is Mike David. Is Mini Carrot going to even attempt to try and defend from this one? Personally, I wouldn't. Surely not.
He's got to remember as well, heatproof ham, on his gearbox.
Yeah, I'd love to go on board with Heatproof Ham actually, because Heatproof Ham is getting up close and personal at the moment with Mini Carrot. It could be an overtake on the next DRS, surely not at Maggots and Beckett's.
It's just going to hang back, it looks like, get the DRS.
Yeah, hang back, get the DRS. Mini Carrot's also going to have DRS on Mike David as well, but he is on soft tyres as Mini Carrot, so he's going to be struggling for pace, as is Heatproof Ham. But I think Heatproof Ham has he just looked after his softs maybe? Because he just seems to be much faster than Mini Carrot.
Yeah, it seems to be like he's letting them to a head battle, save his tyres, and then try and strike a blow when eventually, or hopefully, put a hunch on Mini Carrot and Mike David doing something in front of him.
Dan Bertini, Silver Surfer. I'll second that at Alanzia. Love you, Swifty. Makes a great com team, you know. says Silver Surfer. Appreciate the comments there as we go off board of Heatproof Ham, and we keep a firm eye on this battle for P3. It's looking like an absolute belter is building for this P3 position. The defending world champion versus a young talent versus... Oh, it's just Heatproof Ham, isn't it, really? Just joking with you, Hammy. I'm just joking with you, hamster. Love you, really, buddy. Becky Boo up to P7 as Hoonigan is dropping positions. Being Emotional is dropping positions. He's now in the pits. Is Being Emotional. P9 and P10 swapping, so they're in a bit of a battle potentially for that position, but we're still going to stick with this battle for P3 because at the moment it's looking like an absolute spicy one. Who's going to win on the battle of the tyres? Because Mike David is on mediums and should be faster, but Mini Carrot and Heatproof Ham are still holding on his tail, really, aren't they?
Yeah, they're quite close to him, especially as the softer tyre is the one that degradation, or the tyre can't get the words out now.
We'll get there. We'll get there. Agent the 8th is currently in P12 at the moment. He'll be happy on the current softs at the moment. We'll keep a firm eye on that battle as Heatproof Ham's looking like he's losing ground. And Mini Carrot is looking for an overtake maybe on the inside of Mike David as he comes through the turn. He does cut the track in order to do so and probably loses more time than he actually gains from it as he actually comes into the pits. And the soft runners are coming in. Both of them are. So now Mike David, it's down to you. What can you work with those mediums, sir? What do you think? Needs to find... Oh, he needs to try and maintain at least 25 seconds here, doesn't he? Because it's a slow pit here.
Yeah, I think it's in the region between 24.5 seconds to 26.
So basically, try and maintain around 25-ish seconds if you want to maintain at least some opportunity to keep ahead of those players. So we'll keep a firm eye on Mike David at the moment as Becky Boo, momentarily on those mediums, is actually up to P4 in the Ferrari at the moment. So she'll be starry-eyed, do you think?
Yeah, she's doing very well for herself. She's going to quickly change to position change, now up 10 places.
Yeah,
definitely one of the ones that have chased through the pack.
Yeah, interesting to see at the moment as Mike David is also up 12 positions, and WWR Ted, even though he's currently P10, is up 7 positions. I remember he started at the back after not completing a qualifying session, so he'll be, even though he had these little mistakes here and there, and I mean, we've got to remember he's off actually with 15 seconds worth of penalties as well. I think 7 position gain he's personally going to be quite happy with. Let's go back to the tyres then. Let's have a quick look. So we've got top 4 all on mediums that they started on, and they're going to be looking to try and maintain a gap of about 26 seconds. Currently, Mike David, Trickster and Morgan are all within about 27.5 seconds, and obviously the further up you go, the further ahead they are. Becky Boo is 20.5 seconds behind and is probably going to fall as far as P5 if she pits now. So I think Becky Boo's got a real shout here of making a 2-stop work. If not 2-stop, going to a set of hards and a 1-stop. And she could really play mind games with the field behind her, you know.
Yeah, she's doing well.
Hoonigan is in down P7 at the moment. 7 lap old sauce for him at the moment. He hasn't pitted yet. Let's go down to P7. Let's have a look. He's actually getting up the rear end at the moment of Hippocam on the fresh medium, so surely he should be pulling away shortly. But at the moment, it's looking pretty intriguing to watch. Actually, let's go to P10 as well, because Ted is currently now closing on the gap at the moment on Sphere Cookie. He was one of the favourites to win this. He's currently down in P9 at the moment after some quite significant issues, and Ted actually gets fastest lap with a 30.4. He's looking to go possibly up the rear end of Sphere Cookie. Remember, there is a bit of a glitch with that front end, so hopefully that won't interrupt any kind of racing, but it's great racing as we go off board, and we can see how close they are. As we can't see how close they are because for some reason the cameras are never really working out well. A Sphere Cookie up the rear end. Oh, gotta be careful with that rear end glitch. Hopefully that won't be a major concern. The Sphere Cookie up the inside. And big collision there between the Toro Rosso and the Mercedes. I don't know what happened with Sphere Cookie, whether he locked up and pretty much locked off Ted from making any kind of move there. But Ted, I don't think he's going to be very happy with Sphere Cookie after that defensive move. What was your opinion of that one, Swift?
It seemed to be like Sphere Cookie left the braking a little bit too late and wanted his nose to go in a lot further than WWR Ted's, but they right up the gearbox now, Sphere Cookie.
Yeah, it's definitely Ted's going to be the faster car. Remember, he's on hard tyres, this Cookie, and the 10 laps old as well, and we've got basically fresh tyres for Ted at the moment, as he's now up to 18 seconds worth of penalties for WWR Ted. And I mean, yeah, fair play. I mean, when you're in that position, do you still battle and just enjoy racing when you've got that many seconds of penalties, or do you just let him go and just run your own race?
I guess the only thing you can do is race to your full heart, because you're in such a disadvantage.
Go on board with him as he makes a dive up the inside. Yeah, go on board with him, and there again defended well from the hard-tired Severe Cook at the moment. You might see he's on mediums on the front, but there he's trying to go up the inside and just holding that position. He just has to hold on a little bit. You can see the understeer there coming from WWR Ted. And again, that battle for P9 is brewing very, very juicy. It's actually a very intriguing race to watch. He's going to dive up the inside again, is WWR Ted, as we go on board with Sphere Cookie and see him try to defend that position, and does a cracking job again. Great defensive driving from Sphere Cookie as we go off board and see him battling. And you can see there just how close it is and how close and personal it is at the moment. I mean, it's good racing and it's good to watch.
Yeah, these boys have got a great race car.
And under and over around the outside of Sphere Cookie goes. Will he be able to make that move stand? He can't, and there he goes. Ted makes the move on Sphere Cookie, and it is Mercedes up to P9. Cracking work from him. Again, there goes.
Sphere Cookie wants to go back round the outside.
Back round the outside, potentially, no. And that's Ted again escaping track limits. Not helpful, as the leader, actually, Morgan, actually has entered the pits. He's on a set of hards to the end of the race now. So he's on softs for 13 laps, hards to the end of this race. Remember, 26 laps, 12 laps on the hard tyre. Meanwhile, some of these drivers have actually been, quite honestly, they've been able to run mediums for 12 and 13 laps. So a bit of an unusual call going on the hards at this point, I think.
Yeah, it's much harder tyre. Takes a lot longer to warm up.
On the outside of the Mercedes goes to get the inside, and a great, fantastic overtake. And a bit of an under and over maybe from the Toro Rosso Honda to try and hold the position as they come across the finishing line. Ted going off the track boundaries again to hold the position. Surely has to give the position back. Not too sure, but we're on board with him again as Sphere Cookie gets a 3-second time penalty for turn 1, as we were discussing. Potentially a dive up the outside for the inside of 3. Under and over as Ted outbrakes himself and then tries to go around and does an under and over again at 4. And there's a bit of a tap there, I think, from the undercarriage there, and I think that is the end of that battle for the moment, but them two are definitely going to be hammer and tong for a long time. We'll go back up to this battle for P4 at the moment as 13-lap old Becky Boo at the moment looking to try and get around Morgan 4S on these hard tyres as Becky Boo cuts that corner completely. Perhaps those mediums are now towards the end of their life. She should consider pitting. That's what I think anyway. I don't know what you think, Swifty.
Yeah, I'd definitely get the car into that pits and put a fresh set on.
Wouldn't mind going back to that battle moment for P8 at the moment, actually. You can see how close and personal they're getting. Again, Ted and Cookie defending and attacking for their lives at the moment for that position. Bear in mind, of course, he's got 18 seconds worth of penalties, Ted. He still wants to have a go, doesn't he, and try and battle for this one.
Yeah, he's trying his best. And he's definitely taking the race to Sphere Cookie here. He probably assumes that he hasn't got a penalty unless Jeff has said to him on the radio.
Yeah, I think if he was just to go driver in front and find driver behind, rather, sorry, for Ted, for Cookie rather, on Ted. Just realised how many seconds worth of penalties he's got, and that rear end stepping out again for Cookie. 13 lap old hards are not treating him very well, and he's still got to do another 11 on him if he wants to try and tackle any kind of positions here, as Ted is looking to bite again. Maybe a dive up the outside for the inside, and he's definitely outbroke himself there. Surely, absolutely outbroke himself there, and Cookie, he's surely got to give the position back again. Surely Ted's got to give the position back. He overtook half the boundaries of the track.
Yeah, 4 tyres off the circuit, and he gained an advantage.
I mean, if he doesn't give the position, if the position is not given back, surely in the next few corners, the stewards are going to have to take a look on lap number 15 of 26 of the British Grand Prix here at SynergyPWR People's World Racing. And of course, Ted looking like he made a bit of an illegal overtake to try and get a past Cookie. Perhaps desperation, has been emotional, is looking to make a bit of a dive bomb and try and recover from the very poor start that he had on Adrian the 8th. Clearly, the Toro Rosso struggling to even maintain any kind of strength at the moment. They had a strength and determination at the start of this season. The British Grand Prix, it seems to be taken straight out of them again.
Yeah, they're not looking too well at the home Grand Prix.
Sphere Cookie's still in P9 at the moment on Ted as we take a look now at Sphere Cookie, and again DRS wide open. Surely he's going to end up taking the position back on the outside of that Sector 3 turn, and around the outside, and it's looks like Sphere Cookie's struggling just a little bit at the moment, being able to maintain anything, as Ted now is up to 21 seconds worth of time penalties after cutting that chicane there. I don't think it's a matter of Ted, trying to cheat his way forward. I think he is making genuine mistakes, but so far it's costing him really badly, isn't it?
Yeah, he's getting ever closer towards disqualification.
Well, I must admit, Sphere Cookie at the moment, I think it would be sensible to just take it easy on his hard tyres now to the end of this race, as Hoonigan is now getting up close and personal with Adrian the 8th at the moment, looking very spicy at the moment for the battle for P11. It's not even a points position, and they're looking for some good racing here. And around the outside and takes the inside potentially, but Adrian covers him off, shuts the door and keeps that battle going. But Hoonigan will have DRS, it's open, but he's off the boundaries of the track. Hopefully that won't cause too many issues. Remember, they've got that bit of a glitch at the front, but he's managing to get around it, and Hoonigan is looking like he's going to make the overtake around the outside of that turn, and Adrian the 8th makes that move. Good move.
Adrian not having a good race.
Yeah, it's a good move from Hoonigan, but really poor race from both Toro Rossos. I think at the moment they'll be grievously disappointed, and people that will be very happy at the moment will actually be, at the moment, 35 points, as Trigster and Mike David are both into the pits at the moment for a set of soft tyres to the end of this race. It's a 2-stop, as is Becky Boo. She's on now a 2-stop to the end of this race, and Trigster leaving the pits now. Will he be able to hold on to P1 in front of Morgan? Just in front is Morgan. Behind is Morgan on Trigster. Trigster managing to get ahead of
This
Morgan
is close.
on a set of softs versus a set of hards. This is Trigster's to lose, isn't it? 24 seconds for Ted.
Yeah, Ted getting that extra 3-second penalty again.
Yeah, not looking very good for Ted at the moment. He's getting close to disqualification, which will be very happy for the likes of Dr. Gray, Sphere Cookie, Hoonigan and Becky Boo, who will obviously gain a position if that was to happen. Becky Boo now on a set of soft tyres to the end of this race, actually managing to outrace her teammate for the first time this season, so it'd be good to get a point and above Hoonigan, actually, if she carries on the way she is. She's doing a good job. Trigster, though, leading the way and pulling away, as Sphere Cookie gets 6 seconds worth of time penalties now for him in the Toro Rosso. Well, I think it's looking like an intriguing race, and it's developing. We'll keep a firm eye on the position for P1 at the moment. We'll go to P5 at the moment, as at the moment it is a battle for 12 points. P4, Mike David and Heatproof Ham. I think there's only really 3 words you can say for the performance of that Red Bull driver at the moment today. It's Mike David. Wow.
Yeah, why is the position changed? 11. Definitely cut through that grid.
Yes, indeed. Fantastic stuff from Mike David. Currently one of my favourites, the driver of the day at the moment, is Sphere Cookie and Ted again up close and personal again. Let's go down to P7. There's a big battle happening between them two. It's not stopped, has it? It's just not stopping.
Seems to me like the hards keep going off and then they come straight back.
It's weird, isn't it? It's like they've got multi-stages.
Yeah. I mean, I'd like to be interested in to see Becky Boo. She's got fresh sets of soft on. Sphere Cookie on them 16-lap hards.
Well, let's pop over. As Hoonigan actually gets the fastest lap of the race, and you can see there, Becky was actually not as fast as Hoonigan at this moment in time. She'd be willing, she's all within her intention to not let him pass, but what are they going to do? Will Becky just give the position up? I'm not too sure. Battle for P7 and 8 is brewing as around the outside goes Sphere Cookie for a bit of an under and over, maybe for the outside. Around, is it New Holland, I think? I can't remember the name of it. I'm just going round here now, coming round the corner and flooring it down to the line. Lovefield, that's the one. Lovefield coming round there and flooring it down, and no, not just yet for Sphere Cookie. Great challengers, says Alanzia. Thank you for your comments. Keep them coming in. We're interested. As there goes the inside of Sphere Cookie. Great move from the Toro Rosso. And he's going to have the inside is Ted, but he's going to hold it. And he's going to have to hold his horses, I think, because this is not really an overtaking kind of corner. A selection of corners, rather, is it? And he goes off the boundaries of the track and holding it just there. Both cars struggling to keep grip there. You can see they're really, really pushing their tyres to the limits here. I think 9-lap-old mediums and 16-lap-old hards are around about the same pace, you know. The question is, who's going to go off the cliff edge first as Sphere Cookie? Well, with his right to defend, maybe a bit of left-right lagging. A bit of a lock-up from Sphere Cookie, but he holds it. And then as we go off board to see as they start lap number 19 for them, you can see right there the gap is only 0.4 of a second, so it's looking increasingly quick as Becky Boo gets overtaken by Hoonigan for P10 and 11, as Mike David is now getting up close and personal for P3 for Mini Carrot, and Mike David on the soft tyres, and they're fresh and they're ready, and he's going round Mini Carrot before he can get to the turn, and before you head on to the right-hander of Lovefield, and I tell you right now, that is some mega racing.
Yeah, Mike David back on the podium spot where he'd like to be.
Mike David, wow, that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying for all the Synergy memers out there. You know what I mean. Mike David, P3 at the moment. He'll be very happy to get onto the podium to kickstart his defence for the World Championship. Well done so far. 7 laps to go to hold on. Mini Carrot will be looking though to hope to push Mike David off those cliff edge on those softs, because they do wear out after about 7 laps, and he does have to take them another 7 laps, and they're already 2 laps old anyway. So if Mini Carrot can hold on, he still might be able to take a podium here. But no podiums here at the moment for P7 and 8, but still some valuable points for Toro Rosso, currently battling at the moment with a 17-lap all hards versus 10-lap all mediums on WWR Ted's Mercedes. And right now I think we're starting to see now both tyres go off the cliff edge. The question is, who's going to hit hard first? I don't know. I'd like to think that they can stay with each other just for that little bit longer. Oh, dive up the inside is such an intriguing battle for P7, I must admit. I've never been so excited over a battle for P7 before in my life. I'm telling you.
They're going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. This is great racecraft from the two.
Fantastic racecraft, nonetheless, and fantastic stuff from the runners. And I must say, I'm deeply impressed with the racecraft of today's drivers. They've been excellent, and hopefully we won't have too much of a problem. Another one to make a note on as well. 18 laps on the hards, 11 laps on the mediums. Look at the bottom as well. 18 versus 10 for the battle for P12 has been emotional. Is now getting up close and personal with Adrian the 8th, as well as Adrian getting up close and personal with Becky Boo on the fresh softs as well. So looks like there's still a battle all the way to the end here, as Dr. Gray and Hoonigan are having a bit of a ding-dong between P10 and P9 at the moment. That's quite a significant one, because Ferrari are looking to try and get up close and personal, as Ted and Sphere Cookie are wheel-to-wheel, as they are constantly wheel-to-wheel. Fantastic racing as the inside, and there's definitely some front wing damage there for Sphere Cookie. And that contact there could be quite significant for that front end. And remember, it's actually simulation damage here at SynergyPWR, so that right there could be a game changer.
That could be what WWR Ted needed as well. Not to stir the pot or cause any controversy, but he's on a lot of penalties.
He is on a lot of penalties, and that has got to be some front wing damage again, though, for Ted there, though. I think possibly we'll have to see, but he's going to possibly go for a dive up on the inside. No, he's holding it. Oh, it's fantastic racing to see. No wing damage. Then you can see, there might be there, though. We'll have to see as he comes around the final selection of corners. Well, not necessarily forces Cookie off, but I think Cookie holds on to the position off the boundaries of the track, which you could consider him giving the position back, which I think he's just about to do.
There goes the wing.
You mentioned about
front wing.
Oh, the front wing's gone. Yeah, complete front wing damage there, isn't it? Oh, it's terrible. Absolutely no end plate.
Lost the end plate.
Oh, that might just be the end of Sphere Cookie's race. The question is, will that now cost him 24 seconds? we'll have to see. Heatproof Ham, though, is in a battle for P4 at the moment with Mini Carrot. Must admit, even I was about to say the Saubers have not done a good job here, as well as the Toro Rossos, but I think Mini Carrot is just on a little bit of a downfall at the moment. It's not one of his strongest tracks here, and Heatproof Ham right now in the McLaren is looking to consolidate 12 points here in a battle for P4. This is getting up close and personal. Who's favourite P4 here? 10-lap-old mediums or 10-lap-old mediums?
Oh, this is where it goes down to the driver's skill. I haven't seen much of Heatproof Ham in the past. Watched a little bit of Mini Carrot. Seems to be quite consistent. However, the DRS may play a big part in this position.
I think that's one thing I was worth making note as well. Remember, Mini Carrot's actually been in quite a few battles, while Heatproof Ham has just been willing to chill and relax, hasn't he? So my question is, they might be 11-lap-old each, but does Heatproof Ham got a little bit more life in those tyres? Has he not been able to stretch his tyres as much as Mini Carrot has had to? And if so, will that give Heatproof Ham the advantage?
Yeah, it's quite interesting watching Heatproof Ham actually go around the first and second corner. He seemed to back off quite a bit.
So he's looking after his
He
tyres
wants
and
that
looking for a
DRS.
sting, isn't he? And plenty of ERS
Yeah.
as well, as you said, yeah. Have you wondered one thing? We haven't had a notification from race control saying Ted has received time penalties, so I'm wondering if he's realised I might be on the brink of disqualification and he's cooling down a little bit. Just going to keep a firm eye on that one. But Heatproof Ham's still on that battle for P4 at the moment.
Being emotional, 0.3 of a second behind Becky Boot, and that keeps varying. Seems to go from 0.6 to 0.3, so they get close and
so that
ease away
battle
from
for the
each other.
final point, yeah, I was just about to say, the battle for the final point. So this race is not over for anyone at the moment. There's still points all around available for everyone here. Because Dr. Gray is battling with Becky Boo, who's battling with being emotional, who's battling with Adrian the 8th. And Adrian the 8th, I've got to bear in mind, is on 20-lap-old hards at this point. This might just be the worst position for Adrian the 8th. If he was P11, maybe, I think he would have had a good shout at being able to maintain it, but being on 20-lap-old hards with P13, Adrian might start to struggle here.
Yeah, especially with the laps remaining.
Yeah, 3 laps to go here at the
Not looking good.
SynergyPWR People's World Racing Season 1, round number 10 here at the British Grand Prix Silverstone, and right now Becky Boo is battling really hard with being emotional for P11 at the moment. We will take another look at the rest of the standings as we go up to P5 and Heatproof Ham. And Mini Carrot looking really close and personal for 12 points here, and consolidation would be fantastic for a Mini Carrot, because although 12 points would look good for his championship, for Sauber 12 and 25 would be very, very ideal for them, considering that the only points Toro Rosso are looking to get here is 4 points for Toro Rosso at the British Grand Prix. Could be a turning point here in Division 2, and Mini Carrot looking really to consolidate, but Heatproof Ham not willing to go for a dive here at Maggots and Beckett's, and I really don't blame him.
In that 8th gear.
Mini Carrot struggling to get a good exit out of Maggots, and Beckett's rather, sorry, and there Heatproof Ham doing a cracking job to maintain some speed. He's got plenty of ERS to play with, while I don't think Mini Carrot has, a dive maybe. No dive just yet though, as we follow on board with Mini Carrot, and you can see right there that ERS system for Heatproof Ham is looking pretty good and pretty juicy at the moment. 2 laps to go. He's going to have to make the move soon, surely.
Yeah, it's quite interesting to see actually Mini Carrot not having that much ERS in the bank.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting to see. We're going to have to keep a firm eye on that battle. We'll keep it on at the moment. Firm hand as it goes around possibly the outside. Maybe a bit of a battle for maybe a dive up the outside. Yes, there it is. Nothing just yet though. He's looking a bit cautious, isn't he? As we go off board.
He doesn't want to seem to chuck the car into the lane.
Yeah, he's definitely getting up close and
Seems to me
personal.
like he's waiting for the last lap or something.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure, but he's got DRS wide open and maybe a dive. Oh, he might be waiting for that. To be fair, if he went up here, then it would have allowed for Mini Carrot to come back, and then he would have come back again. So if he leaves it to the next lap, he's at serious risk of losing P4 actually. So he's got to play the mind game here. Maybe trying to force Carrot into a mistake, as well. Bit of a mind game play.
Oh, this is beautiful racecraft. The
As we
2
go on
cars
board.
going into Maggots and Beckett's now.
As we go on board, and hopefully we can see there, and then Heatproof Ham actually making the dive actually up through before Maggots. Now fair play to him, it's a good move, and the only question is though, is Mini Carrot going to be able to catch up again with the ERS and DRS? And right now you can see absolutely no ERS pretty much available at the moment for Mini Carrot. Meanwhile, Heat Proof Ham's got plenty to play with, and Mini Carrot makes the move again under DRS, and you can see it's getting really, really tight as Sphere Cookie losing more time to Hoonigan, and Hoonigan's actually managed to make the overtake. He's kept the same hards on, so which means he hasn't come into the pits to get that front wing replaced. So it is now a damage limitation really for Sphere Cookie, and the hope that Ted's going to start tumbling down the order with the amount of penalties he's got. And it's a great move from Heat Proof Ham on Mini Carrot, up on the inside, and a bit of a mini switch back almost at turn 1 as we go off board to see if Mini Carrot can defend off this. And right now, I mean, it's just been fantastic racing from pretty much all around, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been a great race, and 25 laps in, penultimate lap. It's cracking racing from the Division 2
taking
drivers.
A final look at the position changes to see how the rest of these drivers have done, so we can make a decision on what we feel our driver of the day is right now. Has been emotional, dives up the inside of Dr. Gray and makes his first point potentially of his season back at SynergyPWR. So great moving here for that final point between the Red Bull and the Force India, but the Force India's actually got the inside here. They're making that battle for that final point here, and a bit of a dive up the inside for the Force India, goes around the outside, and a bit of a switch back maybe for the Red Bull for the outside of Lovefield, as that Red Bull can't make that traction stand. And there goes Dr. Gray for P10 again. It's all still to play for that final point. We'll take a look at the standings.
They're definitely chasing after that point.
They're definitely chasing as WWR 10 now up to 27 seconds worth of penalties, I think, now. So I think it's safe to say he may start to struggle here, because there's only, 5, 7, you're talking like 15 seconds, so it's probably that Ted's going to go all the way to the back to P13. So we'll keep a firm eye on that one. But who do you reckon your driver of the day is? It's got to be Mike David, surely, isn't it?
It's good, yeah. I mean, 12 position changes. We seemed him to be an outsider at the end of qualifying. Didn't really give him too much good words, but he seemed to prove us wrong.
Fair play to Mike David, though. It's a 5-second gap for him, and he's actually coming round to enter Lovefield to start his final lap. So congratulations to him. He is our driver of the day, and it will be a podium for him at this rate unless penalties subside something different. We'll go back to that battle for P10 at the moment, though, because you can see how close and personal it's getting now. Becky Boone now getting up close and personal with Dr. Gray. Those soft tyres are, I think, starting to come into their own now, and maybe a bit of an overtake on Dr. Gray. We'll keep a firm eye on these ones here. This is a great battle for that final point.
0.5. Well, it was earlier. It was 0.5 between the top three of these guys battling out for getting that final point.
Amazing stuff, that is for sure. We'll keep a firm eye as Mini Carrot gets a 3-second tap penalty. That could be decisive for that battle for P4 at the moment. We'll go back up to P1 though, because he's going to be coming across now to finish his final race and final lap as Trigster wins the British Grand Prix. Congratulations to him as we go off board and see Morgan 4S come across and take P2, and Mike David, wow, he takes P3. Great stuff for the Red Bull runner. He is well deserved of this, driver of the day and a podium for the Red Bull runner. Heat Proof Ham will take P4 unless penalties subside. We'll keep a firm eye. He takes P4. Carrot takes P5, and he finishes there. WWR Ted will be still in a battle with Jenny Gooch up until the final line. He's been hit with so many penalties and has been pretty much thrown into the deep end as Jenny Gooch dives up the inside. Bit of a nudge, but there Jenny Gooch basically shoving Ted off for P7, but then it's Hoonigan who'll take P7. Jenny Gooch actually goes up to P7 with penalties. Hoonigan takes P6 as Sphere Cookie crosses the line and gets a 5-second unserved stop go time penalty as Ted is tumbling down the order, and we finish with that race. What a battle and what a race.
Yeah, what a race indeed.
We'll take a look at the final standings as we go up to the podium, and you can see there right at the top step Trigster will be very, very happy, I think, with that result.
Yeah, great race from the guy.
Great result, and also a great result as well for Mike David as well, who has a Lebanon flag for some reason, but is very British and takes P3 for Red Bull, and I think he'll be very happy personally as well to get his championship back on standing with a podium at his home Grand Prix. And a great race overall, I think, for SynergyPWR People's World Racing as we take a look at the final standings. And right there, Trickster takes the top step of the podium. And right there at the end, it was 24 seconds worth of penalties for WWR Ted, who finishes P12 and actually doesn't finish bottom. It's Dr. Gray who finishes with 12 seconds worth of penalties. Being Emotional will finish P11 just outside the points. That's again due to penalties. Unfortunate for him was Fear Cooking AJ consolidating 3 points apiece for Team Toro Rosso. Becky will be very happy with P8. As I said, yeah, she just slips in where she needs to be and she gets a good points finish and actually does a cracking job to finish P8. Jenny Gooch P7 for Team Haas, and Hoonigan will be very happy with P6 considering he started in P11. And then Mini Carrot starts in P5 with a great result for him. Heatproof and P4 will be very happy for McLaren. Mike David, like I said, on the podium with P3, Morgan P2, and of course it's Trickster at the top step. Only one of 2 drivers to not get any penalties here at Britain. And a great race overall, I think. Thank you very much for this race today, for you guys tuning in. And don't forget, obviously, it's Eddie and Adrian in the box tomorrow for the British Grand Prix for Division 1. But in the meantime, it's goodbye, mate, for me, and it's goodbye from Swift.